and the sale of turf won't go ahead as planned. They voted with the government in the Dáil last night, which saw a Sinn Féin motion to scrap the ban defeated. The motion also proposed to cancel the upcoming carbon tax increase and temporarily remove excise duty on home heating oil. Independent TD Michael Fitzmaurice is criticising the actions of the rural government TDs.
It's disappointing to see rural TDs basically sticking with the party rather than sticking with the people that elected them. But I think we need to do a motion specifically in relation to the sale of turf upcoming regulations and clarify where these TDs stand.
The government has lost control of the cost of living. That's according to Donegal Deputy Pearse Doherty, who last evening hit out at the Minister of State Sean Fleming, claiming he was talking through his hat. Deputy Doherty called for a suite of measures to be introduced to tackle inflation as opposed to enforcing the carbon tax. He says the government is simply worsening the crisis.
There are options here for people in this House to stop speaking out of both sides of their mouth, pretending that they are concerned about people out there who are suffering because of the cost of living crisis, while at the same time not just coming in here and doing no damage, but doing further damage to people in my community, 2/3 of them who use home heating oil to heat their homes, and your plan is to increase it further. That's the reality and that's the facts.
Parts of South Inishowen are impacted by water outages yet again today. Repairs to a burst water main are being carried out in Maharabeg, Burnfoot, Inch Island and surrounding areas. It's a second burst within 2 days. Irish Water were scheduled to carry out replacement works in the area this week, but that has since been delayed by a month. Ukraine's president has accused Russia of blackmailing Europe and using gas as a weapon after cutting off supplies to Poland and Bulgaria. Speaking through a translator, Volodymyr Zelensky says the sooner the bloc acknowledges it can't depend on Russia, the sooner it will be possible to guarantee market stability.
Russia sees as a weapon not only gas supplies, but also any kind of trade. It's just waiting for the moment when one or another trading area can be used. It can also use it to blackmail Europe politically or to enforce the Russian military machine, which sees a united Europe as a target.
Weather now mostly dry today with a mix of cloud and sunny spells and just a slight chance of a shower. Highest temperatures of 13 to 15 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with news again at 10 o'clock. Until then, good morning.
Hpv Cervical Screening is free to all women aged 25 to 65. It's the best way to reduce your risk of developing cervical cancer in the future. Women over 50 are less likely to attend screening, but you're still at risk, so it's important to attend your appointment when you're invited. To check you're on the register, visit hse.ie/cervical check or free phone 1-800 45 45 55 from the HSE.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127. And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest, the 9 to noon show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello, how are you? And a very good morning. It's just literally turning 5 minutes past 9 on this Thursday, the 28th of April. 2022. How are you keeping? Plenty coming up as always on the programme, and I'm just going to give you a nice early reminder of how you get involved in the conversation and raise your own conversations as well. 0749125,000 is the telephone number to call. 0749125,000 if you're listening outside the Republic and you want to have a chat with us. 00353749125,000. WhatsApps and texts, that's open right now. 086 60 25,000 and emails if you wish, comments at highlandradio.com. And good morning to you. If you're joining us to watch us on our social media, you can go onto the website highlandradio.com and click the link there and watch in your browser, or go straight to the likes of YouTube, for example, Highland Radio Ireland. It's a Thursday morning, lots of great newspapers out this morning. First, we'll start with the Tyrconnell Tribune, a story by John McAteer. He asks, is LUH a victim of medical politics? That is the question posed both in politics and in the public domain after last week's lead story in the Tribunal said the cath lab angiogram service at Letterkenny University Hospital is set to end as political pressure mounts to address the loss of the cath lab mobile service in 6 weeks' time. The issue of Donegal's peripherality and distance from the centre of decision-making in Galway is seen by numbers of public representatives as a major ongoing concern in the county. And you can hear opinions, more opinions on that on the front of, or read them on the front of and inside the paper as well. The Donegal News, serious concerns have been raised as to where potentially toxic waste material called digestite brought to Donegal from Northern Ireland in 2020 is gone, and the pollution it may cause. Quantities of digestate brought into the county in the period before and after that are unknown, because Northern Ireland has so many cows, pigs and poultry, there's not enough suitable land to dispose of the quality of slurry produced there. Massive subsidies were introduced to build anabolic digesters, with 7 built in the Castledarg area alone. On to the Donegal Democrat this morning. A unique architectural gem and perhaps one of the oldest buildings of its type in Donegal is in danger of falling into disrepair and even dereliction. The owner of one of the units that made up the 322-year-old barracks, Main Street, Ballyshannon, has mounted a petition to force Donegal County Council to save this national and internationally important piece of architectural heritage from rainwater that's currently eroding the building's basement. On to the Derry News now, and a positive story, 70,000 set to party. That sounds good, doesn't it? Up to 70,000 revellers are expected to party in Derry over the coming 5 days as the ever-popular City of Derry Jazz and Big Band Festival makes a welcome return after an absence of 3 years due to the COVID-19 pandemic. From today until Monday next, those attending can expect to be taken on a roller coaster ride of rhythm, blues, jazz and swing, courtesy of some of the finest musicians across the world. No doubt about it. And we've often had artists in around about this time, and I love that music. It's great music, and there's a great diversity. Jazz is such a broad church, you can get all types that falls under its umbrella. So a great few days in store for you visiting that region. The Irish Farmers Journal today tells us that tighter restrictions on the use of MAP acres by intensive livestock farmers have been confirmed by the Department of Agriculture. MAP acres are used to generate payments and dilute stocking rates, but are often not framed. In briefing on the new nitrates regime, the department reiterated that the stocking rate for common ground will be cut from 170 kilograms of organic nitrogen per hectare to 50 kilograms. This equates to 7 mountain ewes and their lambs, or 3.8 lowland ewes and their lambs. On to the national newspapers now, and councils are failing to enforce controls on Airbnb type properties. This doesn't surprise me. When it was first announced, I was just wondering how, when you see how slow things can move in other directions, you just wonder where the resources and the time would come from. But anyway, councils across the country are failing to clamp down on short-term leasing as the number of Airbnb-style rentals outstrip long-term rental properties. I bet most of us really can't remember the details. Do you remember it was announced that certain amounts, only a certain amount of days per year could be homes could be rented out, etc. I don't even know the full details because it washed over me and nothing has been said about it since. 11 counties last year took no action against property owners leasing homes to holidaymakers on popular short-term leasing websites. As the housing crisis deepens, the number of properties available to rent long-term has decreased, while short-term lets have exploded in popularity. So if you go to the renting websites where you would get long-term rents, you know, for families or couples or singles or whatever it might be, there are very, very few, a handful. Across a number of counties. But if you go on to Airbnb and type in Donegal or Sligo or Leitrim or wherever it might be, there's no end of properties. So in other words, people who own their homes are choosing short-term rentals. And, you know, speaking to landlords or former landlords, they say that that's a much easier way of doing it. There's more money in it and less hassle and less rid string. But, you know, landlords are always seen as the bad guys, and it's not always the case, of course. But under the current regulations, properties should not be rented out for more than 90 days a year on websites such as Airbnb without planning permission. Properties need special planning permission for short-term letting or tourism purposes if they're to be rented out year-round. So let's go to page 6 till we see which 11 counties there's been no enforcement. Right, so short-term lets versus long-term rentals. How local authorities are enforcing legislation on short-term lets. Go straight to Donegal. The amount of warnings issued in County Donegal is 0. And the amount of investigations commenced is also 0. Okay, so that's there are some enforcements in other counties, but nothing here. On to the Irish Times now, and as you may have heard in the news there, Sinn Féin Dáil motion targeted at Minister for the Environment Eamon Ryan's controversial plans to ban the sale of turf was defeated by just 8 votes last night. This after rural coalition TDs received assurances the proposals would not go ahead as planned. Now, some of these rural TDs, these rural coalition TDs, are seen as sort of rebels, people that are there for the people, that stand for the people. But it's seemingly, and I'm open to correction on this, time and time again, they seem to just vote with the government. There's a lot of bluster in their local media or local newspapers or on the national airwaves, but when it comes to the crunch, they tend, it seems, to vote with the government. Amid some rancorous exchanges and tactical use of parliamentary procedures, the Sinn Féin motion on the rising cost of home heating fuels was defeated by 72 votes to 64 when the vote was taken at 10 p.m. All coalition TDs voted with the government. A commitment by Taoiseach Micheál Martin not to ban turf sales for the remainder of the year had ensured certain defeat of the motion. Now, that's not a really firm proposal, is it? You know, we know how slowly the wheels turn in any case. The proposal by Mr Ryan to ban the sale of turf from September had led to strong opposition from rural TDs in both Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. However, concessions by Mr Ryan during meetings with TDs and senators from both parties, as well as assurances given by Mr Martin in the Dáil and at the Fianna Fáil Parliamentary Party yesterday, greatly reduced tensions over the issue. And the Sinn Féin motion was directed at rural TDs from the two main government parties who had expressed opposition on the proposed ban since it came back on the agenda before the Easter recess. Now, I'm not saying this is any political party type of thing, but we've seen this for an awful time. It's dual speak. You say one thing in your own area and then you go and do another thing in Dublin, and that's not unique to any one particular party or no party for that matter as well. This is a bizarre story in the Irish Daily Mail, and I think there's going to be more to this in an explanation, or else someone is incredibly stupid and has a serious problem. I'm going to work. It's not really very adult, but just in case you're listening in the car with others. Conservative party whips are investigating claims that a Tory MP watched adult material on his mobile phone in the UK's House of Commons chamber. 2 female MPs say they witnessed their colleague looking at mature images more than once. Chris Heaton-Harris, the Tory chief whip, launched an investigation into the whole unacceptable allegations yesterday. Furious female Tory MPs have demanded that their male colleague quit. The claims come about the MP, who has not been named and is not believed to be a minister, were aired during a meeting of backbench Tories. One female MP told the meeting on Tuesday they had sat behind the man on the Commons benches and had seen him looking at the adult material on his phone. Now, this is what I don't understand about this. I mean, obviously, the seating is raised seating going backwards. So anything that you're doing, people behind you can see. Not only that, we don't, if you ever watch it, we don't see on the cameras, but above where all the MPs sit, there are public galleries. There's galleries for the Lords and there's galleries for the public, as I mentioned, and galleries for other MPs that just want to watch what's going on. It seems impossible to me that anyone would think that they could do this without getting caught. I don't know. 2 things are going to happen. There's going to be an explanation that it wasn't quite what these people thought it was, or this person's going to claim they have a problem and they're going to seek help and become some sort of a darling for being so honest about a problem that you have. I don't know. Another said she had seen the same MP looking at adult material both in the chamber and in the committee hearing room. So that's a person... I mean, there's a time and a place. If it turns out it is the case, he clearly can't control himself. The Irish Daily Star, these are widely reported. You would have thought it could have been front page news, but it's not front page news. It's words from Vladimir Putin. He sent a really strong message to the West yesterday. He threatened to unleash nuclear terror on countries that interfere with Russia's war in Ukraine. Now, he didn't quite say nuclear terror. He says weapons that he has at his disposal. He says there'd be no warning. He said that if there was a level of interference in Ukraine that he was unhappy with, that he would act with lightning speed. Now, if he were to do that, we're talking mutual annihilation here, because that's precisely what would happen. If he were to dispatch his weapons westerly, unfortunately, he seems to have a bit of a problem with the UK, which is a problem for us because we're so close to them, but also the United States. He's got weapons that are capable of one bomb eliminating France, the size of it. It can drop multiple nuclear warheads. But if he were to do that, and I suppose this is why we hope it wouldn't happen, it's mutual annihilation, because of course the West then starts launching directly in the other direction, and neither have the defence mechanisms to stop a lot of these bombs. So we hope that threat of effectively, catastrophic, unimaginable consequences, something the world has never seen before since a meteor hit it. We hope that keeps people's fingers off the buttons. But he said, if someone intends to interfere in what is going on from the outside, they must know that constitutes an unacceptable strategic threat to Russia. They must know that our response to counterstrikes will be lightning fast. It came as a Russian TV... Well, I don't care what a Russian TV presenter says, but he was laughing about wiping out countries. But you just wonder where it's going, because obviously the sanctions, the cutting off of the oil is fine. Not fine, but you know what I mean? You'd expect that, the cutting off the gas... Right, but now they're sending weapons, and even the Germans are sending tanks into Ukraine, and now we're seeing the Ukrainians at times using some of these weapons to attack Russia, inside Russia. And you just wonder, we really need a diplomatic solution to this as soon as is possible, especially with the UK talking about providing airplanes, which would be another next level situation. Right, the Irish Daily Mirror, a flying squad of health troubleshooters will be sent to sort out an overcrowded hospital. It's not the one local to us, it's down the country. You can probably guess that it's going to be University Hospital Limerick. It's part of an emergency plan by the Health Minister to help the hospital, where 111 patients were on trolleys yesterday. He said he was very concerned about the care at UHL, as the Irish Nurses and Midwives Organisation showed in the past week. At least 649 patients were crammed together on trolleys at the A&E and in wards. So I've no idea what's going on down there, but it's been going on for a really, really long time. And we heard the INMO calling for an emergency situation to be triggered at LUH there a couple of weeks ago, and it seems that's what's happening. That is what's happening in Limerick. Right, the Irish Sun finally. Leo Varadkar last night insisted he did not commit a crime, leaking a secret government document to a friend. The Taoiseach spoke out. Now, I suppose he's got a right to defend himself, but this is as a Garda investigation is going. But the Taoiseach spoke out for the first time since cops confirmed a file had been sent to the DPP. Mr Varadkar said the allegations made against, and I have to go all the way to page 17, me were false. They were politically motivated. I did not commit any crime. I did not do anything corrupt. In fact, I did not do anything self-interested. Also, too, inside the paper, just on page 17, I just thought it interesting. Piers Morgan, he's on a Talk TV. It's a new Sun-backed, Murdoch-backed TV station where they say, they're going to get rid of the cancel culture. They're going to get rid of censorship. You're going to ask all the tough questions. So I watched a bit of it, and it really is just them saying it's terrible that people are being cancelled. I've never seen anything on it whereby it progressed things. It was just talking about how, we should be able to speak. Well, you have a platform to speak. But Tyson Fury was on it. Tyson Fury, a superb boxer, one of the best of his generation. But you may be aware of the story of the Kinahan cartel, Daniel Kinahan's involvement in that. Obviously his involvement in boxing. He was seen as one of the most influential people in boxing. The Irish press were writing away about him as to his other activities, and then the international press picked up on it after the United States imposed their sanctions, and the UAE freezed all of his assets as well, and he's running out of places to hide. But he was Tyson Fury's advisor, at least he was. Maybe he still is, I don't know. And he was very influential in Tyson Fury's career, because Tyson Fury said that himself. And also Kinahan received millions for fixing or helping to arrange at fights, Tyson Fury's fights, as part of his comeback. And in February, Tyson Fury and Daniel Kinahan were pictured together in Dubai as well. They seem good friends. Tyson Fury's spoken very highly of him. So it would be interesting, I think, just for Piers Morgan to have asked Tyson Fury in this spin-free zone, this all questions on the table, ask anything, let's not cancel each other out, let's talk about whatever we want to talk about. He didn't ask him one question as it relates to that, even to give Fury an opportunity to clarify the situation. So, as far as I'm concerned, it was all a load of nonsense. It's all waffle. And someone was promising something completely different, asking the questions that others are afraid to ask and all that kind of stuff. But in advance, clearly, he was told that Fury didn't want to answer questions on that topic, and he didn't ask the questions. So it's just more of the same, isn't it? Okay. We'll be back with our first guest on the programme after we take this short break. Stay right where you are.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Is your bank leaving town? Letterkenny Credit Union is now offering MyCU current account and debit MasterCard, bringing full banking features with no appointment necessary to open your account.
The newspapers are courtesy of Kelly Centra, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Print your First Communion photos at McGee's Chemist in Letterkenny and you'll get a free, large 10x8 photo of your choice. With photos from just 12 cents each, you can print in store or use the McGee's Photo Prints app and have them delivered direct to your door. Preserve all your best First Communion moments or great memories from any big occasion with McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny, where the best costs less.
Do you suffer from high cholesterol, menopause symptoms, digestive issues, anxiety, aches and pains, or a lack of energy? The highly trained team at The Natural Way Letterkenny can provide advice on natural remedies for a number of individual health issues. The Natural Way also has its own brand of herbal treatments to help fight fatigue, relieve digestive discomfort, maintain a healthy immune system, and alleviate common menopause symptoms. The Natural Way at Letterkenny Shopping Centre, your one-stop health shop.
At Creaseless Supermarket, we offer daily specials at our deli with fresh and delicious food to go. Avail of our butcher's weekly specials or choose from a range of healthy options and pre-packed meals, plus many more offers in store. We're open 7 days for your convenience. Creaseless Supermarket, where quality and value is assured.
The CFC Interiors stock disposal sale is now on. Due to overstock, an incredible £1.5 million worth of stock must go. Don't miss our highest ever stock discount on selected ranges across all departments. The stock disposal sale at CFC Interiors Derry, Cookstown and Abbey Centre.
Are you looking for truly independent financial advice? John F. Lowery Financial Services provides impartial guidance on pensions, investments, savings, deposits and protection, so we can help you prepare and provide for all stages of life. Serving the Northwest for more than 35 years, we are a family-run business and award-winning broker. At John F. Lowery Financial Services, our business is your financial peace of mind. To arrange a personal consultation, visit jfl.ie or call 9124 John F. Lowery and Associates Limited, trading as John F. Lowery Financial Services, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Okay, so as you would know, over the last week or so, the issue of traffic in Letterkenny keeps coming up. Now, I understand that if you're not from Letterkenny or you don't travel into it or through it, you might be going, well, what do they keep going on about this for? But obviously, tens of thousands of people do every day, and there's a major road coming into Letterkenny. It's been the scene of many road traffic collisions and congestion and what have you. And after a long period of time, it is being improved, which is good because it's one of the main roads in Donegal. There's just no doubt about that. But I think people went into this thinking an awful lot of the work would, all of the work would happen at night and disruptions would be kept to a minimum. But over the last while, it's been an absolute nightmare for people. Amongst them, someone who'd have to have an awful lot of patience was Noel. Good morning, Noel.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm all right. Now, I think, omelettes, eggs, all that kind of stuff, we don't mind a bit of inconvenience. We have to be inconvenienced for progress. But some of these delays are far beyond, you wouldn't see them at Dublin Airport, far beyond, I think, what most people would see is acceptable. What was your experience?
Yeah, well, on Monday evening, Greg, I was coming in from the Ramelton side to Letterkenny. And at about 5:05, I just went past the entrance to, I think it's called Clun Arna, which is up the hill there, coming down towards Letterkenny. And now I had an appointment in Monaghan for 7 o'clock, and I was sort of vaguely aware that there were traffic issues in Letterkenny, and I was allowing for probably 15, 20 minutes of a delay. But when the traffic in front of me was there, I thought, yeah, fine, sure, it didn't surprise me, but sort of 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes later, when I had gotten maybe one car length ahead, I sort of thought, maybe, God, this is a bit unacceptable. Now, cars did start moving, or some cars ahead started turning around and going back towards Alcorns and that direction, but so that allowed for movement forward, like, movement by a car length for every car that had moved. But ultimately, it took me from 5:05 arriving at that. It took me until 7:10 to get to the Dry Arch roundabout, I think it's called.
Uh-huh.
And that's 2 hours and 5 minutes to get something that should have taken, in normal conditions, would have taken maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe if there was traffic issues. And listen, I was aware there was buses ahead of me, 15, 20 vehicles ahead. There was a bus behind me. There were lorries. When I was coming past Arena 7, there's a minor roundabout there. There was an on-post truck that practically blockaded the roundabout when it did go on. But I would know myself that guy, he's on time schedules. He was on his way to Athlone with the mail from County Donegal, and I can understand his frustration as well, and that of trucks, maybe refrigerated containers and all the rest of it. And between the going on to the dual carriageway area there was two. One of the lanes on the dual carriageway heading towards Lifford, one was closed where they're doing the works. And yes, you talk about omelettes and all the rest of it, and you have to break an egg, and we all accept that, and it's for the betterment of conditions. But they had created a second
bottleneck.
Bottleneck to go down. And it wasn't the Gardaí or the council. It was the workers involved in, the guys with the hard hats that were directing people to go into these lanes. So there wasn't a sign of a Garda presence or anything like that. Or, how do you get out of it? It's so frustrating.
Now, yours was, I thought
initially it was an accident.
Yeah, it's that when traffic doesn't move at all, that's when you start saying, right, the road must be closed. Now, yours, you were going to ref a game. And clearly there came a point where you said, look, lads or ladies, I'm not going to make this. It's not life and death. It's an inconvenience. But there's an awful lot of other people maybe had appointments in Dublin or
of course, maybe,
as you said, delivery people, going to the airport. Can you imagine sitting?
They're telling you to attend airports at least 3 hours before your flight in recent times.
See, what I don't understand, right, and I'm not trying to stir it, and is like we can send men to the moon, women to the moon. And we can even achieve an awful lot. I don't understand how we couldn't come up with a plan that would alleviate this. Even open a temporary road, temporarily widen the road out, maybe the space there. I don't know. But to what seems like for many people to effectively shut the biggest town in the county down and the traffic through it down for a week, or that's how it feels, there has to be another way. There has to be checks and balances. There has to be someone that says, right, we're going to have to suspend this and think of a different way. There has to be some way of preventing this inconvenience.
It sort of beggars belief, Greg. It really does. You talk about planning or planners or I mean, I can talk about it now because hindsight is great, but planning is a different story, and nobody has anybody planned for this or seen this coming, I mean, it really doesn't add up to me.
Well, I presume a traffic plan, I don't know how it works. I presume a traffic plan is drawn up. I presume there's someone from the council that would look at that and see if it's acceptable or a second opinion, and someone signs off on it. And then I presume someone monitors the flow of traffic and says, right, that's acceptable. But that being said, just been handed a press release from the council, so I best read this in the interests of balance here. Okay. Over the past week, they say changes have been implemented to traffic management to facilitate road construction on the 4-lane road. These works commenced Wednesday night, 20th of April, and are due for completion by this weekend, Friday. It's acknowledged these works have affected traffic during peak hours. Adjustments have since been made to the traffic management to better facilitate traffic flow on the 4-lane road. On completion of the phased works this Friday, traffic management arrangements will again revert to 4 traffic lanes in operation during daytime hours to inbound and to outbound. So they say it shouldn't be as bad now as it was for you on Monday, and it'll be back to 4 lanes on Friday, Noel.
On Friday.
Have you any games on Saturday?
Well, I do on Saturday.
I mean, as if you don't get enough abuse. You know what I mean? This is adding insult to injury for you.
Oh, well, yeah, as I say...
I mean, are you ever right, Noel? Are you ever right?
Never, absolutely not,
Okay.
no. But it's great to have 2 ears at least.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
But, I would have been hard to listen to on Monday evening for a while now.
But you were back on the road yesterday, Wednesday, and you were delayed again.
No, not yesterday, because I wasn't in Donegal yesterday.
Right,
no,
okay.
But, I'm glad I wasn't, because I had to attend something that was quite important as well, and in a work issue, but which would have been absolutely intolerable if there was a 2-hour delay.
Okay.
In our main town,
Right. Okay. And I have a note here what you do for a living. I mean, I don't even know. I don't even know if I want to mention it. No. What do you do?
Listen, I work for a major employer in a national organisation.
Shall we leave it at that then? Yeah,
we'll leave it at that. Yeah.
Right. No, listen. Thanks for helping us with that, getting the message out. I appreciate it greatly. Okay, take care of yourself.
Yeah, thanks a million.
All right, bye bye.
Right,
No, all right, take care. 086 60 25,000. Your WhatsApps and texts 086 60 25,000, or give us a call on 07491 25,000. Now, a caller wants to share with you information. There's a scam text going around from the Bank of Ireland. Please be aware of it. I'm in my late 70s and I went to my bank this morning and everything was okay in my account. Now, I know people and I was actually in their presence, and I won't embarrass them by saying who it was. They don't live in my, it's not that close to me. But they were recently done by one of these Bank of Ireland scams, and what happened was it was pure, it must be pure bad luck. Maybe someone out there has experienced the same. They had transferred money from, they had a Revolut account, and they transferred money from their Bank of Ireland account, in this case the Revolut account, and 5 minutes later they got a message saying, you've tried a recent transfer of money and it's been flagged by our systems, and so on and so forth. Now, they made the mistake of putting in the long number, they put in the expiry date, and they actually even put in the 3-digit PIN in the back, and ended up €800 or €900 taken from their account. Now, it was very quickly noticed. They called the bank, and whilst the money had gone out of the account it appeared to, they were shadow withdrawals and the money went back in. But still, the inconvenience having to get a new card and everything. Now, the coincidence was it was such a bad coincidence that we were concluding that, I wonder, with leaks and hacks and stuff, did they know that money was being transferred from a bank to a Revolut card? I don't know. Has anyone else experienced something like that? Or was it just down to timing and real bad luck? But anyway, these texts are going out. My phone's pretty good. I'm not sure if it's the network I'm with or if it's the phone, but all of the texts that I get and all of the calls I get are marked as spam, and I get a warning about it. Now, as I say, I don't know if it's my network or the phone, but every single message that purports to be from one of these lending institutions is flagged as spam and put straight in the spam folder, as well as phone calls as well, which is I've had about 7 calls over the last week, and every single one of them was marked as spam by the phone. I don't know, or the network. I'm not sure which, but anyway, it's good for me. But those are out there. Those scams are always out there. So keep your eyes and ears open to that. Just to say thank you for having me on Highland Radio on Monday. It had the desired effect. We had a great turnout, and more importantly, people undertook to run events. This is, as it relates to the Mary from Dunloe 2022, it's up and running. So they were on with Donal on Monday on this programme, and we had the same kind of reaction. Remember, with the Donegal Town St Patrick's Day Parade, I think sometimes it's just a case that people don't necessarily know what's going on, how they can get involved. But anyway, Mary Ward was on with Donal, and they had a meeting after that. Lots of people turned out, seemingly, and the Mary from Dunloe 2022 is going ahead, which is great news for the organisers, who are great people, for those that take part, and I think it's great for Dunloe and the wider Donegal community. It's a great money spinner and a great promotional tool.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
McDade's Bathroom, Plumbing and Tiles, serving the Northwest for over 40 years. Explore our showroom with more than 40 displays. Choose from an array of shower doors, shower trays, baths and bathroom accessories. Speak with an expert about tile selection and wall paneling. We also stock an array of plumbing, heating and stove spare parts, as well as a great selection of kitchen mixers and radiators at our trade counter. Our stove department is also available for you to choose a style that suits your needs and complements your home. McDade's Bathroom, Plumbing, Tiles, we're here for you.
You can do pretty much anything in just a few taps. Buy a car, book a holiday, and now you can even apply for a permanent TSB digital current account in-app in minutes. It's quick, it's mobile, it's the start of making your everyday banking easier. Now that's permanent support. Application in your sole name for over 18 personal customers and residents of the Republic of Ireland only. Qualifying criteria, terms and conditions apply. Permanent TSB PLC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
When your new smart meter arrives, it's going to change everything about how you use electricity. And Electric Ireland is ready to help you enjoy it all. From choosing your own billing date, to saying goodbye to estimated bills and taking more control over your usage, you'll be able to make better energy choices for you and for Ireland. So the better it'll be for everyone. Search Electric Ireland smart meters today. Electric Ireland. We're brighter together.
Sometimes it's just bad luck, but sometimes it's negligence. From minor bumps to life-changing injury, every accident has a story. Time to call McElhenney and Associates. They'll assess the situation, advise on solutions, and lead the way if any litigation is to follow. From motor accidents and workplace accidents to slips, trips and falls, call today on 074 917 5989 or find us online. Let's get you started on the road to recovery. McElhenney and Associates Solicitors, Stranorlar. How can we help? In contentious business, a solicitor may not calculate fees or other charges as a percentage or proportion of any award or settlement.
Okie doke, you're very welcome back to the programme. Mary from Ramelton joins us. Hi, Mary.
Hello, Greg. How are you?
I'm good. Listening to Noel there, you could relate to him, I think.
I could relate to Noel. Something similar happened to me. I left the house about between 5 and 10 past 6 on Monday evening. The annual board meeting for the directors and the CU was on a monthly meeting, and I said, oh God, this is great now, plenty of time to get there. I come round the corner about Maharenan, and I noticed the traffic was all backed up well outside the town by the Glebe in Maharenan, and I noticed then that my car had went into the red, the diesel was getting a bit low. So I waited a wee while, I waited about 15 to 20 minutes, and I turned and went back and drove back. A lot of cars were turning around the same time, and I drove back to Kernan's at Muirfield to fill the car up. I got back there, so I'll chance it again. I went up the road again, same thing. Sat for about another 10, 15 minutes, less than 10, 15 minutes. I drove back. I thought in my head then I'll go back through the woodlands. I drove back through the woodlands, and that road, I don't drive on it much. I wouldn't be very familiar, but it took me out to the main road. And I went up then past the Irish Martyrs and right through Ashlawn, right in over all them bullards on the road, you know, the ramps on the road. And just watching out, there were a lot of children playing, a lot of people on the children on the way in. And I was watching all that, and I came in, and I managed to get to the top of the town. I got to my meeting about between 7:15, and I just had to go down then at the door to somebody answer. The meeting goes on for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
So I just got there. So I said if that was a hospital appointment or something, I'd been very late for my appointment.
You would have. Quite the tour, wasn't it, for you?
A lot of detour. And then with the price of diesel now and petrol and everything, your car can get into the red very easily, if you don't check it.
Yeah, but if you're not noticed how quickly the needle seems to move now, you're constantly looking at it, and you move 5 feet, and the needle seems to have dropped an eighth. What day was that, Mary?
Greg, it was between about 6:05. I left the house here.
Yesterday or
Monday.
Monday, right? So Monday seems to be the problem day. All right.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Mary, thanks for that. Glad you got there. You are committed to the cause. No one can doubt that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You always like to get there in time and be there,
For sure.
And I sympathise with what do you call him, Noel. He had the same problem, but he was going to referee a match that was different,
Yeah, exactly.
Still, he was late. Yeah.
All right, Mary. Listen, have a lovely day.
Thank you very much.
Okay, lovely to have you. Thank you, listening. Thank you very much for that. Right now, a loophole in the law that allows convicted sex offenders to change their names while still in prison or after release leads to the abuse of victims, an Oireachtas committee has been told. Those were the words at that committee of independent TD Dennis Naughton. He was speaking to that Justice Committee. Right, okay. Dennis, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
Deputy, tell us, how are you aware of this? Why did you feel this is something that needed highlighting?
Well, there's two specific loopholes. One is in relation to where a sex offender changes their name. The reason that I became aware of this is an issue that has been highlighted by a colleague in the UK, where they're trying to get this loophole closed off. The sex offenders register that we will have here in Ireland for the first time will be very similar to the sex offenders register in the UK, where the responsibility is on the offender themselves to inform the Gardaí that they actually have changed their name by deed poll. And that is being abused in the UK, where sex offenders are using it to avoid monitoring by the police there. And I believe that the same thing will happen here, and that we, as we're now legislating for an effective sex offenders register, now is the time to deal with this specific issue. The other issue that I was highlighting was the issue in relation to the right to be forgotten. Mm-hmm. So any individual can apply to the likes of Google to have a new story concerning them delisted if it's no longer relevant and if a period of time has expired. This should not apply to court reports or in relation to convictions of sex offenders. It is in the public interest that remains searchable on the internet. However, there have been instances here where convicted sex offenders have had that.
And do you think that element is fair? It's the most abhorrent, one of the most abhorrent of crimes, of course, but are you saying they're beyond rehabilitation, they're beyond serving their time, their punishment, and then being allowed to get on with their lives if they don't reoffend?
No, what I'm saying is that we have a constitutional provision in this country that court proceedings must be held in public. Mm-hmm. They must be reported on so that it's out there in the public domain. Now, in relation to sexual offences, in a lot of cases, the names of the perpetrator are not listed because to protect the identity of the victim. A lot of the victims feel that they have a responsibility to waive that anonymity in order so that the sex offender is exposed and their name is exposed, and the story of the abuse that has been perpetrated on that individual is put out into the public domain. And I believe that it's a re-abuse of that victim and that victim's rights if this information is erased from the internet, and it should not under any circumstances be tolerated. That story should remain available. That victim's story is their story, and it should not be erased under any circumstances.
Just in relation to this loophole about people changing their names, are you saying that is something that's happening in this country, or something we have to make sure it doesn't happen in this country? Just because I wasn't very clear when you were explaining that.
Well, I'm not aware of any specific case in this country as of yet. I am aware of many cases in the UK. I gave one example during the Dáil debate of an individual who changed his name on 5 separate occasions, has had a string of very serious sexual offences. And even on one occasion, changed his name while he was in prison.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the law in terms of deed polls and changing your name is the exact same in the UK as it is in Ireland.
Yeah, but if I were, say, for instance, I were on the sex offenders register and I changed my name, if I don't notify Gardaí of that name change, well, then I'm breaching the law. So do we
That's
not
correct.
already have that?
And that is the case in the UK, and this breach of the law is happening quite regularly. Remember that in relation to the sex offenders register, the so-called sex offenders register that we have today, one of the very minimum requirements a sex offender has is that they must notify the Gardaí of any change of address within 7 days of moving address. And every single week, the Gardaí come across at least one sex offender who is breaching that very basic condition. And the reason that they come to the attention of the Gardaí, they come to the attention of the Gardaí for some other reason. So clearly there are far more sex offenders breaching that very basic condition. So if they're not prepared to tell the Gardaí where they're living, what are the chances of them actually informing the Gardaí that they've changed their name? I don't think they'll do that, and this loophole needs to be closed off.
Okay, Deputy. But by the way, did you? Thank you for that important issue. Did you vote last night on the Sinn Féin motion as it relates to turf?
I voted on I think about 17 different motions last night in relation to various aspects of taxation on fuel, including the two motions in relation to carbon tax and turf.
And did you vote with the government or with Sinn Féin or abstain?
No, I didn't vote with the government. I was the Minister for the Environment who pushed this particular issue forward because we have 1 in 5 children in Ireland suffering from asthma. We have 1 in 14 adults suffering from COPD in this country. In fact, 10% of people in hospital before COVID were there as a result of COPD. So air quality is a huge issue in this particular country, and there is nothing worse than actually looking at a child gasping to catch their breath when they have an asthma attack. Having said that, there is and was a strategy in place to phase out the burning of turf by retrofitting homes across this country. That commenced in 2018. It was subsequently suspended by the government and is only now going to be reintroduced next year, 5 years later. And that is the way to phase out the burning of turf. In terms of commercial sales, there is clear rules there in terms of the burning of coal, the burning of peat,
smoky fuels, smoky fuels.
And they are being outlawed. To go that step further in relation to turf will actually lead to more people opening up turf banks, will lead to more people burning turf, which will actually undermine the overall strategy, as happened when Michael D. Higgins did the same thing back in 1998 when he banned turf cutting on designated bogs across the country. This is not the way to deal with it. The burning of turf is dying a natural death, and it should be let to do that over a period of time.
And so you abstained or voted with Sinn Féin or?
I voted against the government amendment last night.
Oh, right, okay. It's always complicated with those amendments and the original motion and all that kind of stuff. I get you.
I don't believe with the government approach in relation to this. We set out a very clear approach in relation to this back in 2018. That hasn't been implemented by government and needs now to be implemented by government, which will lead to the natural removal of turf burning in this country, not by force.
Okay, listen, thank you for that. I appreciate your time this morning. That is Independent Deputy Dennis Nocton there.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Charles Bonner & Sons Ballybuffet are the leading suppliers of solid fuel and wood pellet stoves and ranges, bringing warmth and comfort to homes in Donegal and beyond for nearly 50 years. So visit our showrooms in Ballybuffet or call us on 074 9131 700 or online at thestovestore.ie for more details.
Bank a deal this holiday weekend at Screwfix. Save €65 on the Makita Brush Twin Kit with two 3-amp-hour batteries, now only €199.95. And save €20 on the DeWalt T-Stack Deep Toolbox, now only €24.95. Order at screwfix.ie for click and collect or shop in over 20 stores. Hurry, must end 2nd of May. Screwfix, the choice of champions. While stocks last, prices valid until 2nd of May. Visit screwfix.ie for T's and C's, delivery charges and restrictions.
For a huge selection of furniture, all at one showroom, pull into Grow Furnishings in Letterkenny. Sofas, beds, wardrobes, tables and chairs. Also a range of carpet, vinyl, rugs and laminated flooring. If it's time for a change, it's time for a visit to Grow Furnishings. Grove deliver throughout Donegal, Derry and Tyrone. Be inspired at Grow Furnishings, Kiltoy Road, Letterkenny.
Get the Irish Daily Star today for your free 12-page Punchestown Festival pullout with all the top tipsters in our stable ready to get you first past the post all week. The Irish Daily Star, #1 for racing, #1 for you.
Is the appearance of your staff important to your business? It's the first point of contact for customers when entering your premises. At C&M Embroidery in Letterkenny, they have a huge range of clothing covering all areas of the workplace. It's widely known that customers warm to and trust employees that present themselves well. Have your company name embroidered or printed on all your work uniforms. Contact C&M Embroidery on 07491 28097 and get your staff looking their best.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport. Gatwick's back. You can now fly daily to London Gatwick with Aer Lingus, the perfect gateway to explore South London. Ireland West Airport. You're flying.
All right, then, let's look at the weather. Mostly dry today with a mix of cloud and sunny spells. Just the slight chance of a shower. Temperatures 13 to 15 degrees with a light easterly or variable breeze. Unfortunately, or maybe not, depending. Maybe the farmers need it. I don't know. But unfortunately, the weather not looking as nice for the weekend. Cloudy with some showers. The same thing happened to me recently. I transferred money from my bank account to my Revolut account, and then shortly afterwards I got a call saying that there was fraudulent activity going on in my account and that I should take certain actions that they were suggesting. All right, it just seemed, at the time, it just seemed too much of a coincidence because they knew what transaction was actually happening. But as I say, they send out so many messages, maybe they get lucky sometimes. We can't blame the contractors when there is one way in and out of Letterkenny. Politicians in the Celtic bubble era built a €20 million bridge in the middle of nowhere to bring politicians back to a party when it should have been spent in Letterkenny. That bridge is invaluable to the people of that area, though. I think not invaluable. It's very, very useful and opened up the connections between two peninsulas. But I take your point. I appreciate it. Keep them coming. Councillor Michael McClafferty on traffic. Good morning to you.
Morning, Greg.
I'm all right. What's the story? What are we talking about here? In Letterkenny, is it?
Sorry, it's not traffic. It's actually it's roads, but it's not traffic.
Okay, same thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. No, what it is, just basically at the minute now, with the way things have gone, the price of diesel, price of oil, Greg, so on, etc., we're all aware of. This is having an impact now going forward on roads that are getting tarred and so on with Donegal County Council in certain areas. For example, as we've all become accustomed to probably in the last 10, 12 years or so, a lot of the roads, like the main roads, secondary roads, side roads, so on, etc., where possible, where budgets allowed, they may have been done in tarmac bitumen, as it's called, or such, if you like. But now with the cutbacks, we're actually going back a bit in time, and we're having to use the old style, which was never actually stamped out, but it was used less, if you like, in times gone by. But unfortunately, going forward now again, Greg, we're back at the stage now again where we're using, you've been familiar about yourself, the tar and chip. And now, as a result of this, people are not happy with this now in certain cases. Some people are okay with it, some people are quite happy to get the road done, so on, they're more than over the moon to get regardless what goes on it.
Mm-hmm.
But other people have the exception or of the anticipation that it should be a bitumen. But I'm trying to explain to people this is not possible going forward in all cases. Nothing has changed as such, only just that we're going to end up using more tar and chip possibly on certain roads. For example, quieter roads roads with less traffic on them will get tar and chip, and then busier roads then, where possible, where the budget allows, we'll be trying to use a bitumen, obviously. The thing to point out as well, like all years we have a roads plan as such set out, but this year, I suppose, unprecedented the way it is with everything, our roads plan is up in the air, Greg.
Yeah.
For example, a lot of the contractors have had to pull out. They could not honour their contract, so they weren't able to do it. That's going to take some time now to get that sorted out again. Obviously, re-tendering may have to take place, or reissuing to varies with the contractors that are down the lane, because it works on a list, if you like. So if the first contractor is unable to do it
I think there's a broader problem here, though, in terms of actually getting people to do this work, Councillor, because you know yourself, a lot of projects, road projects, contractors are pulling out of them because they're allowed to. They're allowed to lowball or bid low, and obviously they're looking to make a profit, but then, right up to the last minute, they can pull out and say, look, the price of everything has gone up. We're not interested in it. The way we operate, this is probably a broader question, but the way we operate contracts at the moment with no uplift, I just wonder, are there actually going to be any tenders going in for a lot of these road projects, more generally speaking?
It is a thing, Greg. Your point's 100% valid, and it is a concern I have myself going forward, as probably all have as county councillors, to be fair. Something needs to be teased out a bit more going forward, but I would imagine anyway, for example, ourselves here in the local areas here, we'll soon know in the next couple of weeks what's going to happen, because what you're saying there could very well come to pass, to be fair.
Right, okay. Well, listen, we are going to have to come back to that another day, because we're coming up to the news at 10. Thanks very much for that.
Thank you, Greg.
All right, take care. Thank you. Right, a caller says, are you being serious when you say tens of thousands of people travel into Letterkenny every day? I think not, says the listener. Well, on your average, I don't say stuff generally speaking unless I can back it up. On your average midweek day, you would get 20,000 people would use the bypass. Right? So you don't have to go into Letterkenny, but you're travelling through it. So that's one road, 20,000 on that road. I can't recall off the top of my head, so I don't want to say how many come down Lurgy-Brack, for example, but I can imagine it's probably equal to that. So that'd be 40,000 on those two roads alone, many of them travelling into and through Letterkenny. It's a very busy town in terms of traffic into and through it or around it. So that is the fact. I wouldn't say it unless it were true. All right, back after the news at 10.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Wet n Wild, your one-stop shop for water sports, is fully stocked with all the leading brands of wetsuits, bodyboards, kayaks, paddleboards, scuba gear, swimwear, dry robes, tow floats, UV protection, life jackets, sunglasses, buoyancy aids, picnic sets, cool boxes, stoves, cool bags, barbecues and beach windbreaks. So if you're on, in, under or beside the water this summer, Wet n Wild can keep you safe and looking good.
Hi, Gavin here from iMotors. Does your car need to be serviced? All cars serviced at iMotors in Letterkenny and Malin will receive complimentary 12-month AA breakdown assistance as part of your service package. To book your car in, call us today on 074 913 4567.
This is your guide to smart glasses. Smart glasses often look like regular glasses, and some of them have built-in cameras. Even if you don't wear smart glasses, it's helpful to know what it looks like when someone who is wearing them is taking a photo or video. The person wearing smart glasses usually has to take an action, such as tapping the capture button to activate the camera. When the smart glasses are recording, you'll see an LED light on the frame. So now you know a bit more about smart glasses.
A message from Meta and Essilor Luxottica.
For confirmation and First Communion, see the great selection of suits, casual wear and footwear at Watson Menswear, Letterkenny. Top brands, including 1880 Club, Lyle & Scott, Farah and Diesel. Also, Tommy Bow footwear, and all at great prices. Whatever the fit, whatever the style, confirmation and First Communions are covered. For less, at Watson Menswear. Open 7 days a week on Main Street, Letterkenny, and at watsonmenswear.com. Also, great end-of-sale bargains still available.
The Venga Bus is coming to Pulse Venue Letterkenny this Bank Holiday Sunday. Live on stage, the Venga Boys with all their big hits. We Like to Party, Boom 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 Boom, We're Going to Ibiza, and lots more. Doors open 9, early arrival is advised. That's the Venga Boys this Bank Holiday Sunday at Pulse Venue Letterkenny.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, I'm Michaela Clark with the news at 10 o'clock. A Donegal deputy believes the proposal to ban turf was handled badly by government. Deputy Joe McHugh, along with fellow Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil backbenchers, voted against a Sinn Féin motion for the turf ban to be scrapped and instead supported a counter-motion that no changes be made to the sale and supply of turf until it comes before Cabinet. He says there was much anxiety among people as a result of how Minister Eamon Ryan managed the proposal. Deputy McHugh believes a ban on turf will come, but says now is not the time.
There is a realisation there's less people going to cut turf as there would have been, say, 20, 30, 40 years ago. So it has been on the decline, but people who still continue with this practice, they know that in time that there will be changes when it comes to turf cutting, and that is accepted. But this is not the time. This is certainly not the time, especially during a major economic crisis.
Well, the government has lost control of the cost of living, according to Donegal Deputy Pearse Doherty, who last evening hit out at Minister of State Sean Fleming, claiming he was talking through his hat. Deputy Doherty called for a suite of measures to be rolled out to tackle inflation, as opposed to introducing a carbon tax. He says the government is simply worsening the crisis.
There are options here for people in this House to stop speaking out of both sides of their mouth, pretending that they are concerned about people out there who are suffering because of the cost of living crisis, while at the same time not just coming in here and doing no damage, but doing further damage to people in my community, 2/3 of them who use home heating oil to heat their homes, and your plan is to increase it further. That's the reality and that's the facts.
It's emerged that in-factory weighing permits held by 2 Killybegs fish processors have been suspended by the SFPA. The action was taken on foot of Norwegian vessels who were unable to land blue whiting in Killybegs, instead landing their catch in Derry and transporting it to Killybegs via trucks. It's claimed the SFPA imposed the sanction as Derry is considered outside Ireland. CEO of the IFPEA, Brendan Byrne, has described it as an extraordinary blunder after a special status for Northern Ireland was secured through Brexit talks, providing for EU rules to apply to Ireland equally. The Taoiseach has praised the North West Regional Development Group, which encompasses members of Donegal County Council and Derry City and Strabane District Council. Micheál Martin was responding in the Dáil to questions about support for City of Derry Airport and whether or not the Shared Island Initiative Council be used to provide funding for the airport and possibly a new public service obligation for an air service linking Derry and Dublin. Mr Martin said these are under consideration, as are a number of other issues raised by the group.
I had a very worthwhile visit to Derry recently and met with the North West Development Group, and I think it's a very progressive group. They leave politics outside the door. I would be anxious to work with all concerned to see can we advance that, and I'm very struck by the cohesion within the region. I mean, the group was chaired by the DUP. You had all political parties there. They've been working for quite a long time on economic issues, social issues, health, education.
Almost €30 million has been allocated to Donegal for the delivery of additional home support hours. A total of €66.6 million has been announced for Community Healthcare Cavan, Donegal, Leitrim, Monaghan, Sligo Home Support Service. The additional money from the HSE will fund over 2 million hours across the 5 counties, with 1,685 people in Donegal benefiting. Weather now mostly dry today with a mix of cloud and sunny spells. Just a slight chance of a shower. Highest temperatures of 13 to 15 degrees with a light easterly or variable breeze. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with news again at 11 o'clock. Until then, good morning. The Obituary Notices for this Thursday morning, April the 28th. The death has taken place of Martha Kildea, née Wilson, 4 Beechwood Grove, Lifford, and formerly of Tully Owen, St Johnston, reposing at her home from 12 noon today. Fiona leaving her home on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock for Requiem Mass in St Bathan's Church, St Johnston at 11 o'clock, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. Donations in lieu of flowers please to the respiratory unit, Letterkenny University Hospital, care of Quigley Funeral Directors. The death has taken place of Sylvia Birch, late of 28 Gorgranaha Road, Newton Stewart. Funeral this afternoon in Ardstraw Parish Church at 2 o'clock, followed by interment in Barnes Court Graveyard. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu of so desired to Ward 6F at the Royal Victoria Hospital or the Renal Unit at Omagh Hospital, care of Hood & Co Undertakers. And the death has taken place of James Arthur Duncan, Dornica, Drumawere, Greencastle and formerly of the Dairies. James's remains are reposing at Collins's funeral premises, Culdaff, this evening from 5 until 8 o'clock, where you may pay your respects. Removal tomorrow afternoon at 1:15 for 2 o'clock funeral service in St Finian's Church of Ireland, Greencastle, followed by burial in the adjoining burial ground. For more details, including any family health guidelines for wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show. As it relates to the traffic, a caller says it's the same every summer when there's roadworks coming from beaches like Rathmullen, Carrigot, Creasla, and Saturday and Sundays, a road across to Bonagee would solve the problem, yep. And how long have we been talking about that for now? Yep, got that one in again, duplicated. I left 40 minutes early for work, which is usually a 10-minute journey. I was coming from the Ballabafay Road. 2 of the construction workers on their phones. What on earth has this town come to, and why is it such a mess? Well, maybe they were in communications with people further up the road. I don't know. They weren't ordering a pizza, I don't think. We were talking about the situation in Killybegs yesterday. I thought there was some sort of a resolution there following a meeting not so long ago, but the controversy rumbles on. This texter says the SFPA is doing the same to fishing as is being done to agriculture and rural life as a whole. Seaside is for city tourists and the countryside is for birdies and walkers on their 3rd holiday of the year, not for rural residents. We are a burden to be dealt with. It feels like that. I mean, I don't have any really big, clever counterpoint to say. I think sometimes it just does feel like that. Greg, I wonder, is anyone getting as frustrated as me trying to change my bank account from Ulster Bank? Now, there's over 1 million people with either current business or what's the other one? Deposit accounts in this country. Ulster Bank are exiting the market soon. All of those people are going to have to switch to other banks. And there is some concern from the central bank whether or not the banks that are currently operating have a plan in place to actually deal with this transition. Because obviously, if there's 1 million bank accounts, look how many direct debits there are. A lot of us have direct debits in our cards, not just, DDs and all that kind of stuff. But this caller has had an experience so far, so let's read on. I tried to set up an account in another bank, and despite going into the bank, I was put on a phone to someone in Dublin. So I just left. I thought, if there is no personal service and I'm setting it up, what will it be like when I'm a customer? So I went to another bank. I had to bring ID. My driving licence is out of date on print, but because of the extension during COVID, it's valid until August, but they would not accept it. My passport, again, I didn't renew it because I was travelling nowhere with COVID, and it's clear that it's me, but again, they wouldn't accept that. I now cannot get an appointment to move bank until I get these things sorted. The passport's okay, easy enough to renew, but the driving licence cannot be renewed until it's up. What happened to the Ulster Bank moving their customers to a bank of their choice to avoid all of this? Never heard that last bit. Listen, I have full sympathy for you, but I would imagine because of GDPR, money laundering, all those type of reasons, I think the bank would be compelled to, because they would photocopy your photo ID, I think they would be compelled to use ID that was in date, to be honest with you, regardless of what's happened with COVID and extensions and that type of thing. So I think you kind of stuck on that one, and I think the banks probably have no choice because, as I say, that has to be scanned, and presumably, it's one of the most regulated industries, believe it or not, even with everything that's going on, that there is out there. I turned my Revolut card into a bank account in about 30 seconds. Now, I'm reluctant to switch my banking to it, not because of there's no contact with a human, because I don't do that as much as I would like in any case, but they have a Lithuanian IBAN, which might make it complicated for transferring payments and delays in that regard. But Revolut. You can turn your Revolut card into a bank account in 20 or 30 seconds, and there's a switcher that you can move all your stuff over to it with no fees. There's no fees with that service and a few others. No transaction charges or annual standing fees that you might see with regular banks. So maybe that's an option. I don't know. It's not something I've looked. I'm, by the way, in the same boat. I am currently an Ulster Bank customer, might as well be honest, and I'm also starting to get a wee bit worried about leaving it late and the process that has to be gone through. But what we will do, if there's enough interest out there, because as I say, a million account holders across the country, so plenty in County Donegal, is maybe do another chat with an expert to give us some advice in that regard. If that's something you'd be interested in, let us know. We might do it in any case. 086 60 25,000 WhatsApps and texts. Now, I want you to use that number as well if you want to pass on a dedication for someone at 10:30, you know, whether they are a birthday. Well, I don't really need to tell you what a dedication is it? But you know what I mean. If you want to say hello to someone, or pass on your good wishes to someone, or best of luck to someone, get them into us now. If you have a choice of music too, we will try and do that for you as well. 086 60 25,000. But we'll take a break now because we've lots to come on the show. We are going to talk a little bit more about the vote on the turf last night. We're also going to be hearing from Letterkenny University Hospital manager, and we're also going to be hearing from a local rep as it relates to some concerns as it at Letterkenny University Hospital. That and so much more besides. Stay right where you are.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages with life cover provided at no additional cost. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102 127.
It's time for Ncbi Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Thursday, the 28th of April, Jackpot Day. You're playing for the jackpot prize of €6,400 on the pink sheet. The reference number is S4. It's game number 17. The jackpot number is number 4. This number can come out in any position from the next 10 numbers drawn. And now, here are your daily numbers. 9, 22, 84, 83, 23, 57, 61, 76, 21, and finally 48. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI Bingo information at highlandradio.com.
COVID-19 can still cause serious illness, especially in people at higher risk. We need to keep protecting each other. So stay home if you have symptoms. Wear a mask in healthcare settings, public transport, and busy places. Let fresh air in if you're meeting indoors. Keep hands clean. And get a COVID-19 vaccine and booster. Let's keep looking out for each other. From the HSE, for us all.
Hey, I'm home. Honey? Hi, love.
Hi, love.
I just got in. Where are you?
I'm behind the shower curtain in the attic bathroom.
You're behind the shower curtain in the attic bathroom.
Yeah, kids found the sweets. Have fun getting them in bed. Love you. Bye.
Right.
Connect in every corner of your home with our enhanced coverage technology. Vodafone Super Wi-Fi, now with Wi-Fi calling. Together we can.
Subject to eligibility, activation and limitations with Vodafone Broadband. Install fee may apply. See vodafone.ie/super Wi-Fi.
Is your current car ready for change? If so, now is a good time to visit DMG Motors Donegal Town. Choose from their Skoda range including the Fabia, Scala, Superb, Karoq, Kodiaq, Kamiq, Octavia and the all-new electric Enyaq. Now available for delivery. All fitted with the latest technology, Skoda Connect, with a whole new range of simply clever features. DMG Motors have made buying a new car affordable with finance available on all new vehicles. Test drive the new Skoda today. Call 97213996. Skoda, made for Donegal.
There's a gaggle of monsters you'll see around town, in every colour from bright pink to brown. And just like us, they have hopes, dreams and wishes. A new car, new windows, a holiday diving with fishes. They know just where to go for their dreams to come true. The local credit union who can help you out too. For all of your dreams that are big, small or strange, we've got you covered with our Monster Loan range. Monster Loans from the Credit Union. Imagine more. Loans are subject to approval. Terms and conditions apply. If you do not meet the repayments on your loan, your account will go into arrears. This may affect your credit rating, which may limit your ability to access credit in the future. Credit unions in the Republic of Ireland are regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Hello, the country boy Tommy Rosner here, inviting you to join me this Friday night on the show for an exclusive interview with Kentucky singer-songwriter Alex Miller. He'll be talking about his brand new album that's just been released today called Miller Time. That's all on Highland Radio this Friday between 10 and 1.
Now, Donegal County Councillor Kieran Brogan is a member of the Regional Health Forum, and he's calling for a special meeting of the forum with the Celta Group, the HSE and the management of Letterkenny University Hospital as a matter of urgency to discuss the future of the cardiology services at Letterkenny University Hospital. Councillor Brogan joins us on the programme now. Good morning to you, and thanks for taking the time out of your morning, Kieran.
Good morning, Greg.
Right, so what has happened, just to recap for people who are maybe new to this story, what has happened to trigger this call from you? What's changing in terms of services?
Well, I suppose it's been brought to my attention by, I suppose, some of the patients who had been through the different steps during the hospital process. But I suppose in layman's terms, we have a situation in Letterkenny that many people would have different heart conditions, and some people would be referred to maybe Dublin, Galway or elsewhere for angiograms. But in Letterkenny on a weekly basis, and as we speak, the unit is in Letterkenny today, carrying out the procedures. The mobile angiogram service arrives in Letterkenny late on a Wednesday night, stays there for the full day, providing the service for the patients and the hospital every Thursday of every week. That service is provided by a private company, and I've learned as of last week that service will discontinue at the end of May.
And not only from Letterkenny, but also from Sligo. So even the option of going to Sligo won't be there, as inconvenient as that might be.
Yeah, that's correct. But I suppose Donegal is somewhat unique. The geographical spread of Donegal, as you will know, if you were in Sligo, it's not as far to go to Galway as it is from Mallinhead to travel to Letterkenny or indeed Glencullen or Goodyover. So I think Donegal has a very strong case here. But I think what puts us in a unique position in Donegal, that back as far as 2013, with the full knowledge of the HSE, we invested, when I say we, the management of Letterkenny Hospital, invested in those capital investment and extending and investing in capital infrastructure. The Friends of Letterkenny Hospital, who do Trojan work through Nights of the Races, bucket collections, flag days and everything else, raised a huge amount of money. 750,000 was spent by the Friends of the Hospital in providing the equipment that can make this permanent infrastructure in Letterkenny. That's all there. We as members of the Regional Health Forum were given a tour of that facility 2 years ago. The state-of-the-art equipment is there. It's there because the Friends of the Hospital and the people of Donegal collected the money, raised the money and presented that to them. So I'm calling now for an urgent meeting because, first of all, the patients of Donegal have had to travel to Galway and Dublin far too often in the past. We need to maintain and retain the service we have in Letterkenny. We need to make permanent what we have, and it's my understanding that very little could make that happen, and that would be the provision possibly of a cardiology technician permanent in the hospital in Letterkenny.
And what we heard last week as well is the concern is this could be the beginning of an end, in that, you know, without these type of cardiology services, that we might lose cardiologists out of the hospital. We might lose the services and that expertise altogether. Why would, I think we heard last week, why would a cardiologist move to Letterkenny, when the equipment and the service simply isn't there? We could be seeing sort of, that's the medium to long term problem here as well.
That's 100%, and I'm glad you made that point, because in all fairness to Dr. David, we have one of the best cardiologists probably in the country available to us in Donegal, who's saved an awful lot of lives since he came here, and the team that's working with him in Letterkenny Hospital. They deserve great credit, and we need to make sure that whatever steps that need to be taken now. So the special meeting that I'm looking for is for the members of the Regional Health Forum here in Donegal and our ROCS members as well, and I have been in touch with Mr. McConlogue and his office, who in turn has been in touch with the Minister for Health as well. We need to make sure that we leave no stone unturned to make sure that we have a permanent service here for the people of Donegal and Letterkenny. And I think we owe it, first of all, to the Friends of the Hospital and all the people who've done the fundraising. We owe it to the patients of Donegal, and we owe it to the people of Donegal too, to make sure that we have the services, because far too many services have been over the last number of years allowed to discontinue under the radar. And I'm somewhat disappointed that this hasn't been made more public, and that's why I feel the onus on me and my colleagues in the Regional Health Forum, who I have to say from Donegal, are fully supportive of the steps that we're taking to make sure that we do whatever we can to make sure that this is maintained as a matter of urgency.
Do you think it's also incredibly important at that meeting, and perhaps it's already going to be asked, when the HSE were notified by this company when they would be pulling out, as part of the contract with this private company, what kind of notice are they obliged as part of that contract to provide the HSE about the withdrawal of services? So that would be an interesting question. Then when did they inform the HSE they were withdrawing this service? And what specifically, actually written down, has been done since the HSE was informed that this service was to be withdrawn? What have they done actively to mitigate against it, to plan for it, to even acknowledge that it's happening beyond, acknowledging it's happening? I mean, I think that would give us a real insight too as to how the health service runs and how respected we are as individuals here in this part of the world.
There's absolutely no doubt about that. And I suppose for us as public representatives and members of the Regional Health Forum as well, sometimes we're the last to hear. We can only do some. Politicians sometimes, and you often hear tell of the Minister for Health and politicians and ministers getting a lot of grief, but sometimes they're kept in the dark, and sometimes they're kept in the dark deliberately. And I think the senior management of the HSE and indeed the management of Letterkenny Hospital and the Saleton Group needs to keep the public reps more informed of what's happening, because we have a duty to make sure, and our duty is to the people of Donegal, and to make sure that they have a proper service, that we can get the services. Because as I said, the concern that I've had, and I'm glad you talked about the cardiologists that we've some great talent here and have had over many years in the Northwest. And when they come here, they enjoy the quality of life, they provide a great service. And we're somewhat concerned that if that discontinues, that too many people will have to travel them long journeys. And I think we have a lot of positives in this area. A lot of positive developments has happened in the whole area of cardiology, working closely with Altnagalvin Hospital over the last number of years. That has saved lives. People now have been able to go to Altnagalvin, have pacemakers, have stents put in. A lot of good things have happened. We have proved that the critical mass of population is here in the Northwest, working closely with our northern counterparts in Altnagalvin. So we have so many positive, we have so many opportunities, but as public reps, we need to be kept informed to make sure that we can do what we can. And unfortunately, in this occasion, it came through some patients and indeed the local media of the Churcon Tribune, who was the first to highlight this. And sometimes the public will find it hard to believe that we as members of the Regional Health Forum were not aware of that, and that's somewhat disappointing.
You mentioned the cooperation with Altnagalvin and the health service in the north in this area. Even as a stopgap measure until such time as something else is put in place, can we look north in terms of a similar service that's being provided in Letterkenny and is to be withdrawn, being provided in Derry, for example? I mean, it's still not much use. It is much use, but it's still an inconvenience for people in, Gweedore. You mentioned Gweedore, maybe not so much Malin. It would be, much of a muchness going to Letterkenny and Derry. But are there any options there, or will we be exploring that as part of this process now?
I think this is something that if we get the medical support and if we get the senior management at the HSE level, that this can be fixed very easily, because we have, as I said, what puts us in a better place than any other hospital, as we have the equipment there to the value of 750,000. I'm led to believe that as Siemens is top class medical equipment, and we just need the approval nationally to allow us to get the cardiac technician in place, to allow us to provide the full service. We have the dedicated team. We need to support and grow the team. My concern is, Greg, that if we lose the service for one day or 1 week to any other hospital, that it won't be back again. Yeah. So we need to stand together in Letterkenny and in Donegal to make sure that we have a full permanent service available at Letterkenny University Hospital for the people of Donegal, because sometimes when it goes once, out of sight, out of mind, it doesn't happen again.
Oh yeah,
there's so many positives.
And it's some of it's daisy chain. What goes after that? Because neither you or I are medical professionals, but how a hospital runs. If you lose one service, does it have an impact or a degradation on another? We don't know that, but it's could it be the beginning of a stripping of services? I'm not being dramatic, but we don't know, and we have to be assured in that regard. And you've mentioned it twice, and it's really important mentioning it again because it is a scandal. €750,000 worth of state-of-the-art equipment, as Councillor Brogan has mentioned, fundraised, sitting there. It doesn't require an awful lot more, including personnel, to have services that might be the envy of other hospitals, and to have it sitting there doing nothing. It's really, really, and it's life-saving equipment as well. It's really worth reiterating that, Kieran, isn't it? That can't be allowed to be the case.
Absolutely, no doubt. And the Friends of Letterkenny Hospital are first founded back in 1992. I mean, they've done so much. They've put millions into equipment in the hospital. They've done so much. But the morale, the team effort, the community spirit, so much has been done over so many years. And look, a lot of the great service that we have in Letterkenny Hospital would not be there only for the great work of the Friends of the Hospital. So many have worked hard over the years to make sure that we have the quality infrastructure in place. And sometimes there is a disconnect from the senior people at the very head of the HSE who doesn't understand the location, the region, the geography that we have. So we need to make sure that all we're looking for and all we ever look for is the same level of service for the people of Donegal within their own region, within their own travel destination, as opposed to other people sitting in a desk in Dublin who decide, oh, maybe that service should go to Galway, should go to... There's far too much of our health services now being transferred to Dublin and Galway, and no consideration for the 4 or 5 hour journey that it takes to get there.
Yeah, and very finally, it's a slightly broader subject. Again, this is another story that highlights who potentially, arguably, pulls the strings in this country in terms of permanent government, the highest level of civil servants. There's loads of civil servants working that do an amazing job. We're not on about that. I'm not on about them broadly, but, we've seen, ministers having the rugs pulled from under them, being caught out, maybe being taught a lesson publicly, the frustration our TDs have in working with some elements in some departments, and decisions being made, even like the one that we're talking now, whereby, it's just dropped on the lap of regional health forum members. On a broad, we kind of have to tidy up how we do business in this country, aren't we? Because I think the opposition are in, if they don't already, are in for a shock. If they happen to get into power, they're going to see very quickly how the whole system runs and how hard it can be to deliver on all the promises one might make, Kieran.
Well, I've always seen the role of the public representative to hold, I feel like, the permanent government to account. And that can be the HSE, that can be the different public services across the board. And we need to try and shape the policy towards the needs of the people. So in this case here, we need to make sure that the policy for the health for this region is shaped towards the needs of the people of Donegal. We've done this before, and we had huge battles back in 2006, 7 and 8 with the permanent breast cancer surgeon in Letterkenny, and that service has proved to be maybe in somewhat a victim of its own success. But at least the people of Letterkenny now and Donegal can get a service that they deserve. And I think that's our role as public representatives. And sometimes maybe we've listened too much to the civil service. Our focus needs to be on this occasion on the needs of the patient and on the needs of the people. And our role is to shape the policy towards that.
All right, thank you very much indeed for your comments there. Councillor Kieran Brogan there, member of the Regional Health Forum. They're calling a special emergency meeting of the Donegal Regional Health Forum, the Salta Group and the HSC. We're also going to be talking to, in the not too distant future, hopefully the manager of Letterkenny University Hospital. We'll get him hopefully to comment on those issues. Give us from a managerial perspective an idea of what's going on, what kind of notice was given, and what could be put in place to maintain the level of service that's currently there. Also, there's other stuff as well. Visiting restrictions have been lifted again or will be lifted, and the general workings of the hospital. Hopefully we'll be able to touch on all of that. Right, a caller says, I was asked to go to the Mater Hospital in Dublin for an echo and stress test last week. I didn't go because I couldn't afford it. I've been waiting on this appointment for ages, so I'm still on the waiting list at Letterkenny. At my age, I simply faced the 8-hour trip for a 20-minute appointment. I can't. You know, that's discrimination by geography there, isn't it? You know, if that person lived close to Dublin, they'd be in, get that echo and stress test done. Hopefully all clear, but if there were something that needed to be done, it would be spotted. Instead, they don't want to or can't undertake that 8-hour round trip, which it probably is more, for a 20-minute appointment. So they're going to wait, and we hope, that their health doesn't deteriorate in between times. Both myself and my husband both have experience with the cardiologist, Mr. David. As long as we keep him, we will be okay. He can do it all, says a patient. Very grateful for his service there. No doubt at all. No doubt about that at all. Okay. Let's take a short break. Back in a moment.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Now offering MyCU current account and debit MasterCard. Bringing full banking features. Delivered with the same local trustworthy service of your credit union.
Will you have enough silage this winter? For more in this week's Irish Farmers Journal, here's Paul Mooney.
Our livestock team has essential advice to ensure farmers have enough silage for next winter. Should you be borrowing money to buy fertiliser? We reveal why farmers are locked out of new government pension scheme, and green light for Irish sheep meat exports to US.
Plus, in our Farm Infrastructure Special, find out how you can save time and money through better grazing management and animal handling facilities. Only inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal, on sale now.
If you'd like to save on your home printing costs, switch to a cartridge-free printer. Raymond Sweeney here from Ben Sweeney Euronics to let you know that Epson EcoTank printers can save you up to 90% on the cost of ink. They're different to most printers because they use an ink tank that's easily filled with a bottle instead of using cartridges. Save money and time with an Epson EcoTank printer at Ben Sweeney Euronics Port Road, Letterkenny, and the shopping centre, Dunlow.
Ben Sweeney Euronics. We deliver, we install, we care.
New this week in Home Store and More. All Hotel Collection duvet sets are half price. But better hurry, because when all our half price Hotel Collection duvet sets are gone, they're gone. Also, all mattress protectors and all kitchen textiles are still half price. But when all our half-price mattress protectors and all our half-price kitchen textiles are gone, they're definitely gone. Order online before 2 p.m. for next day delivery, or drop by your local Home Store and More. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Get the Irish Daily Star today for your free 12-page Punchestown Festival pullout, with all the top tipsters in our stable ready to get you first past the post all week. The Irish Daily Star. #1 for racing, #1 for you.
At your local Centra, we have great offers for the bank holiday weekend. Like Inspired by Centra strip loin steak, 454 gram, only €8. Half price Mood ice cream, 500ml tubs, now €2.97 each. And until Monday, Oyster Bay Sauvignon Blanc, only €9. Centra. Live every day. Enjoy, call sensibly.
Right, okay, let's get to some of your comments. We might hold off the music just to a little closer to 11 o'clock while we stay on the issue of Letterkenny University Hospital. So any requests sent in will be obviously mentioned at that time. Greg, and this goes without saying, but I suppose sometimes it is worth saying, the nurses and doctors do tremendous work. That they do in very difficult circumstances. Councillor Brogan is right. Instead of subtracting, we should be adding more services. What is going on? People cannot travel such distances for things that should be readily available in our own county. Our tax should have an equal value to the tax paid in other parts of the country, and we should not have to campaign to have services that others have, should we? Greg, can someone from the contractor that's doing the works on the road come on to explain what's happening? A year now to renovate an existing 1 kilometre stretch of road. I don't know, but good luck to them if they get that work done on Friday. My famous edible hat, will eat my hat if work is not still ongoing on Saturday and Sunday. Hi, Greg. They can do the right thing around... They can do nothing around Letterkenny. It's a disaster, even at the best of times. Go to Letterkenny, Greg. If you was paying me, I wouldn't go to Letterkenny if I was paying me. Letterkenny's great. I understand. And when that road's done, it'll be even more accessible. Greg, the past 2 weeks, the Glencar Road up by the Irish School was closed because it was being retarred. Traffic was diverted. It reopened on Friday. We had a drive in it on Sunday and it was lovely. On Monday, the road workers were back digging up the road. There's been traffic lights on the road since. Why tar the road just to dig it up again? It's such a waste. I just don't understand. Poor planning. I don't know. Did they forget to lay a pipe or something? I don't know what's going on. As usual, says another caller, when there is traffic problems in Letterkenny, someone complains about the Harry Blaney Bridge. We're lucky in Fana to have someone fight for our area to achieve this. It is the best thing that has happened in the area. Just watch the traffic volume that passes over it every week. Pity you hadn't someone to fight your corner in Letterkenny. Yeah, and I mentioned that. I think it's very important. It's been very important for the that area, so I did bat for it to some extent. Yeah, but why should it be, don't build a bridge there, build it here? You know, it's about representation. It's about getting things over the line, and that was one that was gotten over the line. Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil finished voting last night to go ahead. That's about the turf, right? Okay. People say that, but they're not. They're still up there in the polls. Both parties combined still command a considerable lead over Sinn Féin, just on the basics, the basic numbers. There is also an Amazon phone call scam doing the rounds with a short number beginning 04. Yeah, Amazon, because between video services and package delivery services, Amazon, they do claim to be from Amazon quite a lot, don't they? Why are people surprised about traffic in Letterkenny? It's been like that for over 20 years. Councillors were talking about it then and still talking about it today, but nothing. Listen, if you have a busy town, any busy town, you are going to have times when traffic is slow. That's part of it, and that's what makes it attractive, because it's popular. And so you're never going to have a big town with traffic moving around freely all the time. That's a utopia. That doesn't exist. But what we're talking about here is people not moving in their cars for 2 or 3 hours. Different thing. A caller says, I discovered a novel way to beat scam phone calls. If I see a number that I don't recognise, I answer in Irish. Okay, brilliant. When the scammer answers, I say a line of the Hail Mary, or the caller does not understand the lingo, then hangs up. A genuine caller knows the score, but how many even callers from within Ireland, if you were to begin speaking to them in Irish, might go, hold on a second, what's going on here? Right. A caller says the bigger problem for children is childhood obesity and unhealthy diet, overindulging in takeaways. There's no point in blaming the burning of turf when children are not outside playing or getting enough exercise. It's down to lifestyle. Some people seem to think that I'm not saying that caller's necessarily suggesting this, but in some way asthma is something that you bring on yourself, or that anyone can get rid of asthma. That's simply not the case. And we have a high proportion of people with respiratory problems in this county. It's not all for their own doing. It's I don't know if it's genetics or environment, whatever it is, but it is the case. Eating healthy won't necessarily stop things like that. Right, as I mentioned, the General Manager of Letterkenny University Hospital, Sean Murphy, joins us on the programme now. Thanks for taking the call, Sean. How are you keeping?
Oh, grand, thanks for raving yourself.
I'm doing good. Right, we'll talk about the general operations there and visiting and what have you. But I just want to get your views from the top within the hospital as it relates to the withdrawal of these cardiology services at Letterkenny University Hospital. The private company, do you know when they notified you or the HSE that this service would no longer be available?
Yes, they notified us back in February.
Okay, so what has been done practically between February and now to try and keep a continuance of service going?
So we're in discussions with SAILTA and with National HSE to utilise the interventional radiology suite, if possible, to continue to provide that service in Letterkenny.
What is that suite, sorry?
It's an interventional radiology suite. So it's a facility within our radiology department. When we rebuilt the radiology department, we created an area that would allow us to undertake interventions where you use radiological equipment for treating patients as opposed to just diagnosing patients. And the equipment that's in there would allow us to do the diagnostic angiograms that we have that we undertake on the mobile unit at the moment.
So, in a way, could that provide an improved service then?
It could provide an improved service in many respects, because it wouldn't be limited to one visit per week.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, like everything Greg does, it doesn't mean it to be always available, because there's other procedures that are undertaken in that facility, and we would need to recruit additional staffing as well. But we would be able to provide a limited service at the moment, and we could expand on that service over a period of time. The equipment in there was purchased by the Friends of the Hospital, for which we were extremely
This is the €750,000.
Yeah, it is state-of-the-art, very complex equipment. And as I say, it's not just used for diagnostic angiography, it's used for a whole range of procedures. And many patients are already benefiting from us having that facility on site, but we could extend it. And we've applied.
So just to be clear, sorry, Sean.
Yeah, no,
the purchase cost of that €750,000 state-of-the-art equipment, it's been described as sitting idle. Is it sitting idle?
It's not sitting idle, but it's not being used to its
full potential
capacity either.
Okay. Right, yeah. So in terms of what is required then to get that up and running and a timeline, I mean, obviously I know in terms of recruitment, we don't know. It's a crystal ball situation. But can you give us an update as to when you would hope to have that up and running, doing a job that would sort of keep a continuance of the services that we have and maybe even improve? How long might that take, and what kind of procedure has to be gone through before it would happen?
Okay, so I suppose there's two parts to that question, and some of these discussions are ongoing at the moment. But to recruit the staff that we would want to be able to comfortably sustain a service and expand the service from what we have at the moment, that would take quite a number of months. And as you said, the difficulty here is a crystal ball, because it's about finding people to actually apply to work in Letterkenny and to take up the posts. However, I would be reasonably confident that we would be able to provide a limited service similar to what we've got with the mobile unit in a much shorter period of time.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, so for people listening who would be availing of this private mobile unit, what happens to them now? In terms of, I have to be honest, I don't know the ins and outs and the terminology, but in terms of diagnostics or whatever it might be, are people going to, like we heard from someone earlier on, was given an appointment in Dublin. They feel they're not well enough to make that journey, so they're going to sit and wait for an appointment at Letterkenny. I'm not sure it's with this unit, but...
Okay, so, and again, I suppose there's a number of facets to this. So first, I can't comment on that. As you said, the individual case you said we don't know if that's anything to even do with with angiography. So it may or may not be. Patients at the moment, what we have is a visiting mobile cath lab that comes on site and does what's called diagnostic angiography. So it's basically a complex scan of the heart to identify abnormalities, and one of our cardiologists could describe it much better than I can. For a number of patients, they will require not just the diagnosis, but they will require what's called interventional angiography. So they have the scan, and as part of that procedure, a stent is put in place. We don't provide that on the mobile cath lab. We never have had that service in Letterkenny. Historically, a lot of patients would have gone from Donegal to Dublin. When we became part of the Sales Group, we had access to their services. So at the moment, the patients go to either Galway or Dublin. And again, that's around... partly around the geography of where they are, where they can get to, but also where we can get them the promptest access. So those patients. So if a patient is going to Dublin for an angiogram, it's either because it's absolutely urgent and it can't wait till the unit visits on Thursdays. The patient can't wait to Thursday, or they need that intervention. They need the stents put in, and they need to go to tertiary centre. For patients who avail of our mobile unit, it's not an ongoing course of treatment. It's a patient going in, like somebody coming in for a CT scan or an MRI
diagnostics
scan. It's a diagnostic, and it's once often over a period of time they may need to go back and be rescanned or have a new diagnostic angiogram, but they're not coming on a scheduled program of care. For the last, when I came here, we actually had no facility. For the last about 8 years plus, we've had this mobile unit that comes to Sligo and to Letterkenny once a week. And it's a UK-based company. We had interruptions during COVID because they had difficulty getting their staff over, and we had restricted services, and we had to send more patients out of the county. Now they're saying that for various reasons they're pulling out of the Irish market and they won't be available. So it means the facility won't be here, it won't be in Sligo.
So how long then do you think, in the best case, are you talking before the end of the year, before we are doing this diagnostic work, using and availing of the equipment that was fundraised by the people of Donegal?
I would hope, and I would be working to ensure that it wouldn't be that long. I would want to get it as seamless as possible. Ideally, to have the ability to actually be undertaking the procedures here by the time the mobile unit left. But there's a number of things that we need to bottom out on that at the moment. And,
so there's a possibility there will be a continuance.
At this point in time, we don't have. Sorry?
There's a possibility that there won't be actually a break then in this type of diagnostic
There's
work.
a possibility, but I don't want to make.
Understood. No.
I said to you before, I'm always very wary of making promises when there's not certainty. And at this point in time, even as a start, we are not clear that we'll be in a position to do that. I will have approval to do it, and we'll be in a position to do it. But that's so. At the moment, I'm working twofold. One is to actually confirm that we would be in a position to do this, and I mean, as recently as yesterday, I was talking to somebody who would maybe be able to help us with some sessional work. And secondly, we need approval to be able to go ahead and do that. And then, even if we could do it, we would need to recruit extra staff to make sure that we wouldn't be doing it on a wing and a prayer, that we would have the capacity and sustainability to be able to provide it on an ongoing basis.
All right. That work was ongoing or triggered by the publicity around this?
No. So the work was ongoing. Absolutely. I suspect that's what triggered the publicity, because we were having ongoing discussions within the hospital on this. But I suppose further, I take a step back. We have, we've submitted several business cases through SAILTA, and SAILTA have presented them on our behalf to National HSE over the last number of years.
Okay, right. Tell us how the hospital is running generally at the moment. Obviously, what a couple of years it's been between obviously having to deal with an extremely busy hospital anyway, having to manage COVID cases, having to deal with the fallout of the cyber attack. So where are we at now in terms of how the hospital is running and the impact, say, for instance, of COVID at the moment, if any?
Okay, so as it has been a tumultuous a couple of years, and I suppose one of the surprise might be the right word, but one of the key factors was that the first few months of this year were as heavy and as challenging as most of the months through the earlier phases of COVID. The situation at the moment is things are settling down somewhat, and honestly, I would say that COVID's not gone. We're going to have ongoing pressures from COVID, other than COVID. So we will always have some degree of cyclical elements of seasonal illnesses and pressures on the system. As things stand at the moment, our COVID numbers have dropped. We have 13 COVID patients in the hospital today. We have none in ICU. If you go back only 8 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago even, we were 90 plus patients in the hospital, and again, several patients on any given day in ICU. That put significant pressure on our services and on our bed capacity. And although we've opened more beds within the hospital, the mixture of those COVID pressures, and as I said to you when we spoke the last time, the sheer increase in emergency department presentations led to significant congestion in the department, significant delays in the department. Things have settled, and I don't want to be doom and gloom. Neither do I want to be too blasé about it. We're still very busy, but things have considerably settled. We're still on every day running close to 100% capacity, but
But that is to be expected in an acute hospital situation. You'd be expected to be able to operate at 100% capacity. I mean, that's the way the health service is designed, generally speaking, I presume.
Well, it is. The difficulty is that if you are running at 100% capacity all the time, anytime you have peaks, because it's average capacities, and averages high peaks and troughs. And if you're running at 100% capacity all the time, then you have no your resilience or your ability to cope with those peaks.
Sorry, I get you. What's the situation we're visiting then?
Visiting, I say, as the situation improved, and we're very conscious of the impact of restricted visiting on patients and their families. So we took the decision at our COVID management meeting this week to reintroduce visiting as of yesterday. And again, we're reintroducing it on a phased basis, and I hope that we will continue to increase the access over the coming weeks. But at this stage, we have a situation of where we're facilitating patients have one visit for up to 30 minutes per day. We're still asking the family members, the visitors, make contact with the ward in advance before 3 p.m. in the afternoon in order to arrange the visit. And we're staggering the visits, because what we don't want to do is fill particularly the multi-bedded rooms. So where you have a room of 4 or 6 patients, we don't want all the beds and several visitors coming into all those patients. So we're staggering the visiting times, so you get a slot at 6:30, at 7:15, or at 8 p.m. to visit the patient.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
I was going to say the WHO are saying, we're going to be getting another wave in 6 to 8 weeks, that this is going to be happening like that. Are you looking at ways that, we're going to have to live with this for consecutive years, it seems, hopefully not with the serious level of illness that we've seen? Is it going to be the tap being switched off and on visiting perpetually, or are you looking at ways that even in the event of the next phase that we find a way to keep the hospital going similar to how it was pre-COVID?
We're continuing to explore what options there are to keep the hospital going as it was pre-COVID. But the unknown here is the extent of, with new variants, new waves, what impact it has. I mean, we would have always had, but was much less impactful than COVID. When we had seasonal flu outbreaks and had flu outbreaks in the hospital, we would have restricted visiting.
Okay.
And I suspect that there will still be an element of that with COVID, and maybe even broader to say COVID and seasonal flu, where we have sort of significant infectious outbreaks.
But again, that's a crystal ball job, isn't it?
We want to try to move away from the stop-start,
yes,
which is frustrating for everybody and just leads to confusion.
Mm.
But it is very difficult if you look at the numbers of COVID cases we had in the community, and we could identify that people coming in that were asymptomatic or were coming in with very mild symptoms and not recognised that COVID had actually exacerbated our problems here. And that was only part of it, because we also have our staff. We all live in the community.
Mm-hmm.
Our patients all live in the community. So we had a risk of staff acquiring COVID in the community, patients acquiring COVID in the community, and visitors coming in. So we were trying to reduce the congestion.
Have you had any particular
the
problem?
The situation's improving now, and we're able to pull back and facilitate more visits.
Any particular problem with long COVID amongst staff?
There are issues for both patients and some staff with long COVID, and that remains a challenge. I'm glad to say more and more of our staff impact of COVID is, as with patients, hugely reduced at the moment, and that's much less of an issue. And Letterkenny has actually been received funding to develop a long COVID clinic, which we are in the process of now trying to get established. We need to recruit staff. We need to develop clear pathways, and I hope to be making announcements on that in later in May.
Definitely worthy of a standalone interview, I think. A listener asked the questions perhaps I should have asked. Why can't stents be done at Letterkenny? If you can get the angiogram there, why can't you get the stents in?
Okay, twofold. The putting stents in is a more complex procedure with higher risks of complication. It requires a greater infrastructure. It would not be feasible or safe to have done it in a mobile unit. Again, as I say, there is a national review of cardiology services, and that's going to make recommendations about what sort of facilities, what sort of staffing levels, and what sort of backup other clinical services you need if you're going to provide that level of intervention. And at this stage, both Sales and the hospital are waiting on the recommendations from that review.
Not sure you can answer this one on the spot, but Mary says, can you ask Sean, why have they not managed to find a room to set up a pain clinic yet? She says it's bordering on the ridiculous at this stage.
Okay. So one of the, and I think I mentioned this in previous interview. I know I've mentioned a recent briefing I did on the hospital. Space is one of our biggest challenges. We are actually working to re-establish the pain clinic at the moment, and that's not just about the room; it's about the facility. The pain clinic traditionally was held in the day surgery unit. We're looking for an alternative location because, again, with appropriate spacing required in the day surgery unit to reduce infection risks, we have to restrict the number of patients we have down there. And from that perspective, running an outpatient clinic down there isn't feasible. So we are working on that with the consultants and the clinicians involved.
Okay, you talked about sending heart patients to Galway or Dublin. Why not across the border into Derry?
Again, I suppose we have the primary PCI, so we have an arrangement with Derry for patients who've had a heart attack, what's called a STEMI heart attack, and they require stents within a very limited time period. And we now have an arrangement, and have had for several years, and we will talk about this before, so they go straight by ambulance into Derry for those procedures. Okay. For scheduled procedures, again, there's capacity constraints in Derry. Historically, our links were with James's, where they have a major cardiac service and centre, and as part of Sales, now they're part of Sales Group, we work with them as their primary tertiary centre.
And finally, it's not a big one, but it comes in all the time, and people going to ED having to check in, and I've been there as well. You have to give your name, your address, your contact number, talk a little bit about your health. Everyone can hear what you're talking about. You try and whisper and they say, sorry, I can't hear you, and then you almost feel like you have to shout it. Between, person's individual privacy and perhaps even GDPR, do you accept that maybe is something that could be done a bit better?
Yes, it's something we have looked at before. I suppose, interestingly, one of the impacts of COVID was because we streamed the patients with respiratory symptoms from non-respiratory symptoms. So that created a barrier and a glass partition between some of the reception the windows. So there weren't two people standing so close to each other. But I accept there is still an issue in terms of the size of the department, the proximity, I suppose, of the reception counters to people waiting, and it is something we've looked at. And I will take that back on board and see again if there's something more we can do.
Yeah, it's one of those little things that would just make the whole experience so much more different. It's like people hearing your confession, with in a chapel or church, wherever you might go. Sean, thanks for your time this morning. I appreciate it, and we'll talk again in the future, I'm sure. Sean Murphy there, the General Manager of Letterkenny University Hospital. Right, most of the questions coming in on the heart side of things, the cardiology services, I think I got to them. There are general general things here that I just don't have the time to get in, because we still have another hour to come on the programme, and we've stuff lined up that we have to get in, stuff that we couldn't get in yesterday or the day before, and we have to get in. Such is the busy nature of this programme. Thanks to you out there listening and interacting. Okay, it is 11 o'clock, so that means only one thing. It's time for the very latest news update, and we cross over to Michaela Clark. Good morning, Michaela.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. There's calls for a special meeting to be held to discuss the future of cardiology services at Letterkenny University Hospital. It follows confirmation that the weekly angiogram service will no longer be provided at the hospital as of the end of June. Conjur Kieran Brogan has also expressed concerns that the cardiac cath lab is sitting idle after €750,000 was raised by the Friends of Letterkenny University Hospital for the service. However, hospital manager Sean Murphy has clarified that it is in use but not at full capacity. Meanwhile, Mr Murphy says discussions are ongoing with CELTA and the HSE to deliver the angiogram service within the hospital's radiology department. The hospital was notified in February that the service would no longer be offered on site. It's emerged that 2 Killybegs fish processors have had their in-factory weighing permits suspended by the SFPA. Action was taken on foot of Norwegian vessels as a result of not landing their blue whiting catch at Killybegs, landing it instead in Derry and transporting it to the harbour via trucks. A Donegal deputy believes the proposal to ban turf was handled badly by government. Deputy Joe McHugh, along with fellow Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil backbenchers, voted against the Sinn Féin motion for the turf ban to be scrapped and instead supported a counter motion that no changes be made to the sale and supply of turf until it comes before Cabinet. He says there was much anxiety among people as a result of how Minister Eamon Ryan managed the proposal. The Taoiseach has praised the North West Regional Development Group, which encompasses members of Donegal and Derry City and Strabane District Council. Micheál Martin was responding in the Dáil to questions about support for City of Derry Airport and whether or not the Shared Island Initiative could be used to provide funding for the airport and possibly a new PSO for an air service linking Derry and Dublin. Officials are working to try and see how more TDs can be fitted into the Dáil chamber. The Office of Public Works has been asked to examine accommodating between 9 and 19 extra deputies in Leinster House next term. And almost €30 million has been allocated to Donegal for the delivery of additional home support hours. A total of €66.6 million has been announced for the Community Healthcare Cavan, Donegal, Leitrim, Monaghan, Sligo Home Support Service. The additional money from the HSE will fund over 2 million hours across the 5 counties, with 1,685 people in Donegal benefiting. Those are the latest headlines. We'll be back with an update again at 12 noon.
Michaela, thank you very much indeed for that. A caller says Councillor Brogan is a member of Fianna Fáil who are in government at the moment, so he's in a good position to do something about it. Civil servants running this country, not politicians. Another, calling an urgent meeting, don't make me laugh. The drive will go to Mr Brogan, and the rest of the representatives should be taken to government. Nothing gets done at local level. Time there's a change of management. Okay, I mean, we can be frustrated with politics and we can be critical of politics, and I think that's important and that's good as part of social discourse and conversation. But I mean, at the end of the day, like an issue as it relates to the cardiology services, it doesn't matter if a politician is independent from Sinn Féin, Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael locally. They'll all work together and they'll all campaign and they'll raise the issues and they'll try and get it into the press and they'll do their own work and put pressure on their parties. And, you know, we can be cynical, and we are cynical. I'm maybe the most cynical of them all, but they are trying to make a difference and keep things on the agenda. And it's good to see the word, you know, important, emergency or urgent meeting being put in there, because this is important. And we're all doing our bit to try and make sure this ticks along. Because if we weren't talking about this, if John hadn't done his story in the paper, if we weren't doing our bit here, if the councillors and others weren't doing their bit, if DACC wasn't sending their emails and letters, you know, these things slip away and they're gone, and we lose the services and things, we lose services and then other services go potentially. So we all have a role to play, the general population, to make sure that we say, hold on, yeah, we are as important as anywhere else. This is not acceptable, and this is all of us kicking up a stink till you do something about it. So everyone, I think, has an important role to play. A caller says, I know a man that needed a temporary heart stint before going to Dublin. Nobody was on call to do it. A doctor had to come out from Derry to do it. He would not come out without proof of health insurance. What happens to those without health insurance? Another, I'm sick to the teeth listening, always making excuses about... this is Sean Murphy. I'm sick to the teeth of listening to Sean Murphy, always making excuses and painting a rosy picture. The hospital is an awful situation, having experienced myself. The ED is a no-go area, so wake up and remove your rose-tinted glasses. But look at... Again, I'm trying to be fair, but not speaking on behalf of anyone. The hospital needs more staff, and the staff aren't coming up to the hospital as well. That's only part of the problem, of course. But... it is a problem. Greg, it was nice of Sean Murphy to mention staff, beds, and services. Please ask about the €1,000 we are to get. Was that not supposed to be in this most recent paycheck? I thought the €1,000 was supposed to be paid in this paycheck. I'll check up on that. I'd let that one go, to be honest with you, because I thought everyone was getting it this month. Visitors should be asked to take antigen tests. I don't know. Antigen, spantigen, sometimes you feel like, people... Nothing wrong with them showing up faint red lines, strong red lines, other people sick as dogs and nothing coming up. I'm not questioning them, but I don't know. I'm not sure that would make much of a... Maybe I suppose if it allowed longer visits, maybe it would be worth it. People might undertake them. I don't know. Okay, we have ad breaks to get to because obviously we've had a very busy 10 to 11, but stay where you are because you won't want to miss our next item.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
This Friday the 29th, Around the Northwest is live from Foy's in Letterkenny, where they're getting ready for a big May Bank holiday sale. We'll get some ideas for interior and exterior decorating and find out what's currently trending in colours, fabric, lighting and furniture. We'll also have some great giveaways, so listen in this Friday from 12 on Around the Northwest, live from Foy's on Port Road, Letterkenny.
Your mental health is important, and now it's easier than ever to find the supports and services closest to you. You can free phone the Your Mental Health information line at 1800 111 888 anytime. Our team will tell you which supports and services are near you, where they are located and how you can access them. You can also visit yourmentalhealth.ie for more information on mental health, for you or for people you know. Yourmentalhealth.ie from the HSE.
Are you going to John's wedding?
Should the flowers on that weekend? There'll be sessions up and down the street all day.
Hi, Biggie Ling, Bekiol agus Crack agus Rira agus Rulabula.
Aren't you the best man?
This ad is kindly sponsored by Steeler Bill and Sister Sarah's, Donegal Fla, Letterkenny, 6th to the 8th of May.
Sport is at the heart of every community, and so is Special Olympics. Every day, volunteers help people with an intellectual disability to experience joy through sport. The Special Olympics Annual Collection Day takes place on Friday 29th of April. Please give what you can to our bucket collectors on Friday 29th of April or donate through your Revolut app. Thank you.
With longer evenings, outdoor living is back and there's great offers right now in garden furniture at Kelly Centra Letterkenny. Outdoor tables, chairs and benches at unbeatable prices. Also, portable barbecues, accessories and everything for grilling and chilling. Find all you need for outdoor entertainment at Kelly's award-winning Centra, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport. This summer is going to be one of the busiest ever. Check out our summer flights to European cities such as Barcelona, Cologne and Milan with Ryanair. Ireland West Airport, you're flying.
Okay, so it's not looking too bad for today, is it? Mostly dry with a mix of cloud and sunny spells. Just a slight chance of a shower. Highs of 13 to 15 degrees with a light easterly or variable breeze. Okay, we are going to be talking about... actually, you know what? I have a comment here in front of me, not my next item. I want to get to those as well. We're going to be talking about International Workers' Memorial Day. It is today. It's an important day. We're going to be speaking to a guest about that after we catch up just for this one quick break.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering MyCU current account and debit MasterCard, bringing full banking features, delivered with the same local trustworthy service of your credit union.
Lidl's inflation-busting offers are helping families all across Ireland.
As a family of 5, I have seen huge changes in the savings. I see them every week. There's a great variety of products. Very pleased with it.
Inflation-busting offers at Lidl. More for you. Customers were paid a gratuity for their time.
Hit refresh on your home this spring at Foy & Company in Ballybofey and Letterkenny. Create your perfect home with new arrivals in furniture and beautiful fabrics, paints, wallpapers, rugs and wall art. From brightening up your kitchen to breathing new life into your living spaces, the Foy & Company team will help you create the perfect colour scheme for your home and lifestyle. Book your free online or in-store colour consultation today at foys.ie.
I'm Stephanie Preisner, one of thousands of autistic people in Ireland, everyone experiencing life and autism in our own unique way. Unfortunately, many of the things connecting us are the barriers we face every day. Barriers most people don't face and so don't even see. Barriers to a proper education, barriers to employment, barriers in society that leave autistic people isolated and left out. Help us remove these barriers and give autistic people the same chance. Donate at asiam.ie.
Don't miss your last chance. The Kilkenny Design Sale ends this weekend. There's up to 50% off. Almost everything is reduced. Discover fantastic offers across homeware, wellness, clothing, accessories and much more. Sale runs until May 2nd in stores nationwide and on kilkennyshop.com.
If you are 65 or over, or you have a weak immune system, you can now get your second COVID-19 booster vaccine. Your vaccine is due 4 months after your last vaccine. It will improve your protection from COVID-19. You can book a vaccination centre appointment on hsc.ie or contact a participating GP or pharmacy. For more information on your second booster or to book an appointment, visit hsc.ie or call our team in HSE Live on 1800 700 700 from the HSE for us all.
Okay, so as I mentioned just before the break there, today is International Workers' Memorial Day. Did you know between 2012 and 2021, 27 people, your fellow county people, were killed due to work-related instances. And so far across the country this year, 7 people have died in work-related instances. Dr. Sharon McGuinness is CEO of the Health Safety Authority and joins us on the programme now. Doctor, thank you very much for taking the call. Can you hear me? I wonder, Sharon? No? Okay, we might have to come back to Sharon. I think Sharon's having some difficulty in hearing me, but we'll return to her shortly. In the meantime, we'll take some of your comments. We'll keep them coming into us. I'm a retired construction worker. I was travelling to Connemara and it took an hour to pass through Letterkenny from Carragard. There was so many diggers and machinery sitting idle. I do not understand this at all. In my experience, I've never seen so many idle machines. Well, a lot of the work is, we're being told, carrying on at night, or at least it's supposed to be, bar this work that's ongoing at the moment. So maybe that's it. They're away in bed. Right, it took me 1.5 to 2 hours to reach the Mount Errigal Hotel from Milford. It is up to the person in charge of the construction company to appoint traffic management, says that caller there. Look, we appreciate your comment there. Hi, Greg. As an Ulster Bank current account holder, I was delighted that you mentioned this topic on your show earlier today. I spoke to a financial advisor and they weren't much help on this matter, except to say that traditional banks, in inverted commas, don't want to speak to people anymore. Would you and your team be able to get a financial expert and or even a bank rep on to take questions on your show someday? Thank you, Neil. Yes, Neil, we did not too long ago, and we'll be more than happy to do that again, obviously, because it is an issue, as I mentioned earlier on, affecting over 1 million people. You can stop calls from numbers you don't know by going into your settings and silence numbers you don't know. It works for me. Okay. Right, I'll try Sharon. Sharon, can you hear me okay, I wonder?
I can indeed, and apologies for that. I don't know what happened there.
No problem. As long as we have you now, that's important. I'll just remind people, you're Dr. Sharon McGuinness, CEO of the Health Safety Authority. And as I mentioned, 27 Donegal people lost their lives in work-related incidents between 2012 and 21. Across the country, 7 people have been killed in work-related incidents. And maybe in the summer, I don't know, is there a trend in summer months, maybe when there is even more construction activity, agricultural activity and activity in other industries that we unfortunately, history tells us that we see even more of these deaths?
Good morning. Yeah, I suppose in a sense there can be some trends in certain sectors where we might see fatalities happening at particular times, be it in farming or, as you said, in construction. And obviously the reason we're talking today and the reason we're kind of speaking is that it's Workers' Memorial Day today. It's a Remembrance Day for those that have lost their lives tragically in work-related incidents. And as you said, there was 27 in Donegal, but in that 10-year period there were over 480 people. So that's quite a lot of families affected and communities affected by that, and they've happened across all sectors. So what we're saying to people today is obviously to take the time to remember everybody, but also take the time to now think more effectively about how you're managing safety and health in the workplace too.
Yeah, that can be individuals or that can be companies, presumably, obviously.
Absolutely. Everybody who goes to work, whether you're a self-employed person, which many farmers would be, for example, or you're going into a construction site, a manufacturing plant, a shop or whatever, there is a role there for the self-employed person, but there's a role there for the employer and the worker as well. So part of that is really people taking account of the requirements, the advice that's all provided by ourselves in the Health and Safety Authority, and working together on site to make sure that they both have a joined up and agreed approach to making places safe to work.
It's an important day in remembering all those lives lost. Sadly, many of them avoidable deaths. And of course, we'd have to reflect on, and you've already mentioned it, what we can do to try and prevent them. Is there enough support? I know, say, for instance, in terms of agriculture, there have been initiatives, the likes of the IFA have been involved in buddying up and farmers checking each other's health and safety and things like that. So that work does be ongoing. But do you think enough is being done? We can always do more, but what could we be doing more, I wonder?
I think it's a conversation that people need to have on an individual workplace basis. I mean, we in the authority have provided a significant amount of advice and supports and tools that make it easier for people to do their own health and safety management on sites. But equally, we also know that we can't do it ourselves. We work a lot with collaborating with stakeholder bodies such as the unions, such as employer groups and farming groups, as you mentioned yourself there. We've done a lot of work with them over the years. But ultimately, it's about people realizing how they need to work, but they need to work safely, and how they can do that, and always thinking about that aspect. Because as you can imagine, we sometimes get to the point where we're doing the work and we've done it the same way 10 times and we've been fine. So that we presume the 11th will be okay. But as you said, all of these incidents and all these fatalities are generally preventable because we know the main causes: machinery, falling from heights, animals in the case of farming, for example, as well. But, so we know the issues that are causing them. And we're just asking people to take that time to make sure it's done safely.
And in those examples you gave, obviously we have the figures in front of us as it relates to death. But how many more serious injury, brain injury, life-altering injury, whereby, not only can they not work any longer or maintain their farm or whatever it might be, but also obviously, their life has changed, dramatically for the rest of their lives and for those around them too. It's the same as road traffic collisions. Obviously the headline figures of the fatality, but you can multiply, and there is actually a multiplier that accounts then for those who are seriously injured or have life-changing injuries or disability.
Absolutely. And that's, as you said, this figure of fatalities often gets people to stop and think and be aware of. But equally, you said under that figure, there are thousands more people who go to work and come home with a life-changing injury or an illness. And it's really important. So we look at everything that you do in the workplace. So it's not just, the scaffolding or the piece of machinery. It's about being exposed to chemicals that might cause cancer, about being exposed to psychosocial hazards such as work-related stress. So we're very much all over this in the safety and health terms, and we're asking employers and employees to work together to address this.
And maybe today, as a remembrance to those who have lost their lives, or this week, or towards the end of the month, it is the end of the month, but maybe we as individuals, if self-employed or as companies, can say, right, okay, this is a reminder, it's a timely reminder for us to look through our procedures and practices. What are we doing? What could we be doing better? Use it today as this conversation as a catalyst to do so.
Absolutely. And as I said today, when we were speaking earlier, this is one day out of 365, but every day should be a day to remember am I doing this in the right way? Is it safe? Is it healthy for me to do it? And if not, put in place the plans to address it. So, you know, put your safety statement together, make sure you have a safety rep in situ in that. And like what we just spoke about here about statistics and numbers, this morning, very poignantly, we were joined by the DC family whose son Lorcan had tragically lost his life in 2018. And no words can, you know, I couldn't describe what that impact of that Lorcan's death was. I mean, as a mother and as a brother, you know, everybody there today, they were, you know, they said it much better than we can.
Yeah.
And they're asking people to remember to follow the rules, to follow the guidance and do this job, work together to make this a safe place to work.
All right, Dr. Sharon McGuinness, thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it, okay. CEO of the HSA. That event took place in Dublin earlier. It was attended by the likes of, well, most importantly, the family of Lorcan Deasy. May he rest in peace, but also the likes of Damien English and others. You'll see the footage if you watch the news tonight. I'm sure you'll see the footage from that. But we're just trying to do our bit as well. Sometimes you just hope that these conversations maybe trigger something in one individual. You will never know if it did or not, but just that someone makes a change and it prevents something happening to them. That's the one thing I would hope comes from interviews like that. Caller is just looking for some advice. If anyone knows how I can contact or who I can contact in relation to wild deers. We're in Dunlow. There are 4 deers that are around our house in the evening. They've broken a very precious memory tree and have made a mess of our lawns. We live on the main road in Dunlow and waiting for them to cause a terrible accident as they are around most evenings. Does anyone have any advice as to who you contact to help them out? Right, and it is a very important tree, this, by the way. I don't know if the caller... I think the caller might not want us to mention it, but it's a very important thing to something that happened in their lives. So it's affecting them on a level. But now they are concerned and might have an understanding that these deer, because of the way they're behaving, might cause a road traffic collision. So who do you contact about wild deers? There's 4 wild deers. They're causing damage. They're ripping up lawns. But this caller particularly concerned that they could cause a crash. Anyone out there know who you would contact? It's in the Dunlow area. No, it's not like cows or sheep. There's no tags as such that you can say, right, that person owns them. But they are, you know, of equal mass and potential danger. Let us know, please, if you can help. 086 60 25,000. Right, the age of which regular 10-year driving licences expire for older people has been raised from 70 to 75. I think this is good. I think this is important. Thankfully, we've got loads of people over 70 who are healthy and hearty and should be treated the same as everyone else, especially as it comes to their driving licence. So from the age of 75, renewal is necessary every 3 years or annually where medical assessment deems it necessary under updated guidelines determining medical fitness to drive. But from now on, you can get a 10-year licence at 74, turning 75, so that'll see you into your 80s. So that's good, isn't it? I would say a lot of people, 70, 71, in great health, are wondering, well, what's wrong? You know, I'm the safest, healthiest driver around, and I'm having to, you know, get a new licence every 3 years. So hopefully that's good news for some who may not have been aware of that. Okay, let's take a break.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from 40,000 to 600,000 euro with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
If you're flying soon, Dublin Airport advises you to allow plenty of time to check in your bag, pass through security screening, enjoy your airside experience and head to your flight. That can be up to 3.5 hours before your departure time. To prepare for security, have your liquids in containers of 100 millilitres or less in a single sealed bag separate to your hand luggage. For more information, please visit dublinairport.com. Wishing you a safe journey.
Celebrate the long weekend with Top Oil and the year of free fuel. There's more than 55,000 euro in prizes to be won. Sign up for your chance to win at topoilwin.ie.
This summer, holidays are go with Jet2 Holidays and Atlantic Travel. So go explore your sunny favourites with hundreds of free chow places available. Ask the experts at Atlantic Travel about your next Jet2 holiday by calling 074 912 6193. And book now with just a £60 deposit per person. Jet2 Holidays. Package holidays you can trust. Subject to availability and conditions.
This Friday the 29th, Around the Northwest is live from Foy's in Letterkenny, where they're getting ready for a big May bank holiday sale. We'll get some ideas for interior and exterior decorating and find out what's currently trending in colours, fabric, lighting and furniture. We'll also have some great giveaways, so listen in this Friday from 12 on Around the Northwest, live from Foy's on Port Road, Letterkenny.
Will you have enough silage this winter? For more in this week's Irish Farmers Journal, here's Paul Mooney.
Our livestock team has essential advice to ensure farmers have enough silage for next winter. Should you be borrowing money to buy fertiliser? We reveal why farmers are locked out of new government pension scheme, and green light for Irish sheep meat exports to US.
Plus, in our Farm Infrastructure Special, find out how you can save time and money through better grazing management and animal handling facilities. Only inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal, on sale now.
Get your weekly shop at M&S. Check out remarkable value with over 100 everyday products at really surprising prices, like pasta for just 50 cent, or fresh market specials, seasonal veg, all at 50 cent. Plus, we've lowered the prices on the products we know you love to buy, from our traceable lean Irish mince beef to rich tea biscuits. So pop in today and enjoy great quality at prices you love, with all these ways to save at M&S Food. Subject to availability, see in store for details.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the programme, and we welcome into studio Patrick McBurty, founder of the Blue Stack Challenge and director of the Blue Stack Special Needs Foundation. Good to have you in studio. Patrick, how are you?
Great. Thank you for having me.
No, it's good, and it's good to be talking again about the Blue Stack Challenge.
Yeah, very exciting.
Before we get to that, talk to us a little bit about the Blue Stack Special Needs Foundation, because despite funding issues, it does. You seem to be improving all the time.
Oh, we are.
Yeah,
we are. We're delighted. We have Wendy McCarry as our CEO, and since she came, she was with us in 2008, and then the crash and all that happened. We all know what happened there. But anyway, Wendy unfortunately had to go back to Cork, so she came back up 2016, and we were in like a flash for her, and the place has just taken off. It is amazing. There's over 40 people now working in the Blue Stack Special Needs Foundation, and I'm very emotional but delighted because the piece of work that we have to do, we're only scratching the surface. You know, we're getting support from the HSE and whatnot, and everybody's given out about the government and whatnot, and we could too, but we have to work with them. There's lots of things happening in life, as we know, between war and refugees.
Is the funding stream a little bit more reliable now? Because, I mean, obviously, and I know you want to focus on the positive, and I want to be there with you, but I'm also acutely aware of the being in a situation where knowing if you could continue what you're doing and having to campaign and speak publicly and 50 grand a year and you know, out with the begging bowl to the HSE and government. Any of that, I presume there's still plenty of forms to be filled out, but is that any easier now?
I wouldn't say it's any easier, but what I would like to say is the people's generosity and the face of all that is going on. They have supported us, and now we are paying back. We are giving people, they can see the benefits. Like we've just opened the coffee dock in Donegal Town, the Blue Stack Shack.
Where's that located?
It's just at the back of the our business, our place of the Blue Stack Foundation Centre is just opposite the Abbey Vocational School.
And I just want to say now, I have never parked outside that waiting on my son to come out of school.
Right.
I've never parked the entry.
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Who else does? Oh, it's amazing. It's a crazy place. Anyway, well, we're just opposite the Abbey Vocational School.
It's a lovely building, actually.
It is. Yeah, and just at the back of it, it gets better. Once you come around the back of it, the Donegal Bay opens up for you. And
you're above the Abbey Cemetery there, really. That's further up the way. You're further.
Yeah. But anyway, there's lots of stuff going on.
So just in terms of the coffee dock, sorry, because these little things matter. If someone fancies a cup of coffee, right, you just walk down to the building that's at the back, is it?
Yeah, it's just around the side.
Fantastic,
You'll see it, it invites you in.
Brilliant. Right, let's have a go at that.
Yeah. No, it's open. It's a fair weather, in fairness. We don't have it, but it's brilliant. They're doing teas, coffees, all home bakes. Go down and sample it. They also do soup sandwiches. So, it's not just a coffee dock. So people can go in for a bite. There's seats, sitting. We've got a big, what do you call them, canopy over
That's exactly what it is.
yawning or whatever it is. Anyway, a massive big one of them in case it's
gives
raining.
a wee bit insulation.
Yeah,
from the weather.
so yeah, well, it's I would say a summertime, or if you're coming in a cold day, make sure you've a coat with you. But the views and whatnot, there's a very safe garden down the back, so you can bring it's child friendly. But there's lots going on. That is just one thing.
And we spoke to you not so long ago about working with local businesses too, didn't we? That was a relatively new initiative.
Yeah, well, we have this progression program now, right? Where we're taking young adults and we're finding what's their niche, because every one of them has ability and plenty of ability. We look at the disability, we want to look at the ability, right? And what we are doing is finding out what is their strengths, what they like doing and what they can achieve, and just help them to progress through life. And already we've had, with the coffee doc, there is one employer's come in for and said that they would like to work with an individual who is working there. So this is going to
takes
develop.
time.
Absolutely.
Because what happens is others need to see the success and the potential, and then it sort of catches fire a little bit. Hopefully it does, yeah.
But that, we're only scratching up the surface, but we're starting to, things are starting to happen. Like, there is about 10 or 12 different programmes going on from the Saturday Club, which was our base, and we have that in two centres, Donegal Town and in Falcarra. We are now hoping to open up in Castlefin and Letterkenny. But what I really want to say to the people today is that we want to have another Blue Stack Special Needs Foundation Centre based in Letterkenny, and that is what we're actively seeking. We've been on to a couple of estate agents looking for, and I would appeal to anybody that is, a farmer, has a piece of land or a house that they would like to give us at a reasonable, or maybe donate to us would be even better. But
do you see this as a purpose-built facility, or could it be adapted?
It will be purpose-built by us.
Yes, that's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we'll take anything. We were looking at a house, but unfortunately Micah took that away from us. So, but we are seeking a place.
But you know what? There's a lot of places close to Letterkenny and around that would be a fantastic facility, because especially you'd want a bit of parking and that type of stuff
and we
as
want
well.
more. We want space because we want to develop.
But there's places off a lot of the roads here. You go into some businesses in there, but there's other bits of land that would be perfect for this type of thing.
But the idea, what we vision, what we see happening in Letterkenny is, let's say, a place where people will come to visit. Let it be for arts, crafts. We want to build a place, create employment, but also will be a funding stream, because we can't be always out. We have to try and make something that is sustainable. And we see gardening, we see that we'll employ both people of all abilities, though, right? But it's basically to generate an income that, we're not always out in the begging bowl, but we will, please God, always have a Blue Stack challenge of some description.
And we're going to get into that. But I just want to give people a better, more of an understanding of this. We do it every time people come on from the Blue Stack, but sure, there's no harm. You drag a lot, not drag a lot, but you do. You drag a lot of people want to come from a long. From a great distance to come to the Blue Stack because they see what the work it's doing.
Absolutely.
Like, what parts of the county do you drag people to it from? Do you know what I mean?
Well, they're coming from Dunfanaghy to Donegal.
Yeah.
They're coming from Letterkenny. There's a few. But that's the thing. Like, we are now inundated. Like, you have your own... The kids are only getting in once every 4 weeks because of the demand that is there.
You don't want to turn people away, yeah.
So we need other facilities. So that's why we have one in Falcarra. We're hoping to get an outreach in Letterkenny and Castlefin so that we can increase. Brilliant. And that is, but the great thing is the foundation, how they measure themselves is by the smile on the child's face and them not wanting to leave. And I can't just thank the staff that we have in there. They have it in their heart. They have a vocation to helping. It is amazing the work. I would love you to go down and visit. Go for a cup of coffee and just see what is actually going on in there. Yeah. It is a great space.
You have your daughter Anya works there as well.
Oh, she does. Yeah, she works in the coffee shack, the coffee dock on a Tuesday. But she's also in the progression program on Mondays and Wednesdays. She's a busy girl. And she's in the Mill Park on Thursday, Friday. So, but she's brilliant. Anya was born 21. She's just 21 the beginning of the month.
Happy
just
birthday,
back.
Anya.
Herself, Alana and her Bernardine, the three of them were over seeing Mamma Mia in London for her birthday. And they had a great time, left me behind. But anyway...
They wanted to enjoy themselves, Patrick.
Maybe that was it. it's
Let
the
the
pen's
hair
dropping
down.
slowly here. Huh?
Right, okay, so you know firsthand the importance of this. And it's always the way, isn't it, that, I don't want to be negative, but like if something like this wasn't happening, there's a gap there because the HSE's not doing it, right? And the amount of people that engage with the centre or employed by it, the amount of people the centre helps, you just think if it wasn't there, the gap would be enormous, and the progress and the empowerment of people, that wouldn't be happening.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I would agree.
The HSE would be throwing money at things like this here.
Yeah, that's what I would like to come out. We would like, the powers that be that to consult with, let's say, iCare, the Down Syndrome in Letterkenny, and ourselves and other, bodies that are involved in special needs. I'm just naming three, but like. They built a nice building in Donegal town, spent a lot of money in it, and that's what the government or agencies tend to do, is they just throw money at the problem rather than maybe seeking out to see.
Of course, with engagement.
Yeah.
And I've spoken to people in organisations, not mentioning any organisations, and key people that keep them going, but they're running out of the energy to do so because it's the constant... It feels like a constant battle to keep things going, that you're constantly having to make the argument for it. And it will wear you down, especially if it's a relatively small group of people. And you go, can I do another year of this? Because often too, people involved in this are caring for people with special needs as well. Do you know what I mean? And that's why they're so passionate about it. Yeah. So they're trying to give respite and relief and advancement for others, but at the same time, they've got their own family situation to deal with. They're heroes. They're unbelievable, unbelievable people. But...
but they have no choice. They have to keep fighting because, like, it's the love of the child. They have to see, and they have to make sure that there is a better future for them down there, and that's what we're fighting for.
Right.
And I just want to thank the people of Donegal and beyond north as well, because you have listeners Derry and Tyrone, and they have been very generous to us as well down through the years, donating to us. And I just want to thank them, but I am appealing for their help and support. We want to establish a big base here in Letterkenny for special needs.
That would draw in from the counties that you mentioned and the areas you mentioned.
Okay. Right. So we need volunteers.
Yes.
Right. We're also looking for board members, right, to come on. We need a young, vibrant, the foundation's not about any one individual or person. This has to go on for decades to come, and we see it growing and expanding. We have... I must say that the environment that has been established with the help of Wendy and her fantastic team is second to none. I don't think there's a facility like it in Ireland. And I'm being a little biased, but I do believe it is up there.
We'll forgive you for being biased because I think you're correct. Okay, right. Now, one of the big drivers, and I think lots of organisations or charities have them, they have that flagship fundraiser where it's really important and it's a cornerstone of everything. That is the Blue Stack Challenge. Yes. It's back for 2022 with a new route. What's going on?
Yeah, well...
I didn't even do the old one yet.
Well, it's a bit like the Tour de France. If it can go to a different place, so can we. Okay. Anyway, well, listen here. This is our 20th anniversary. Special time, special year. So we are going to a special place. And Glencolmkill, it is the most fantastic setting. They're filming in there, so that'll give you some idea. It is just an amazing. And we're going along the coast from the GAA pitch of Glencolmkill right along the coast to Port, where the army are going to put up tents for us. We'll cook the breakfast. They'll distribute it out. Then we go on out to Glenlaw. We're going to look at Glenlaw, which is another maybe 2 kilometres further on. We're climbing another hill. Then we come in along the coast back into Port, right? And eventually we make our way back into Glencolmkill via the mast, right? So it's like a figure-8 route. But it's in the region of 22 kilometres long. I walked it last Sunday, right? And it's just... I just can't describe it.
How is it broken down for people of different sort of ability. 22 kilometres, seriously.
Well, we done 40k the first year, so we've come back.
You.
We're being generous. The first one is 48 Ardra to Biddies, which McGee's sponsored, and we're delighted to have. We're delighted to have McGee's back. We have Blaz and the Gateway Lodge in Donegal Town, and 3D Personnel. They're our main sponsors this year.
Stuff.
And there's other sponsors that have and are giving us generously. Too few. I can't. If I start with one, I'll be leaving somebody
I understand
out,
that. Right. So the walk takes place then on
21st of May.
The 21st of May.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
Just to caution people, you just can't turn up on the day. The registration, we have it on the website, is closing the 30th. I can announce we're extending it. At the moment, we have 250. Capacity is 400, right?
All right, so you're okay.
Yeah,
why why is it, I suppose, just logistics, is it?
Yeah, well, we're cooking for everybody. You know?
Yeah, okay, right.
Yeah.
So it's more than a walk, it's an event. Yeah.
This is the only walk you'll put on weight at, right? So, no, but it is. We look after, what we're asking people is to go out and seek funding for us, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And do the best we can. We've no minimum, no maximum, right?
So you
and
register before, in return, go on.
Yeah, in return, we will guarantee them a fantastic day, right? We look after them. It's like you're getting on the airport, you're checking in at the GA Centre in Glencolmkill, and I want to thank the GA Club as well for giving us their facility. But you're checking in there between 8 o'clock and 8:30 on the Saturday morning, 21st of May. There's a few bits and pieces. Anya's going to do a wee dance for us. She always wanted to be on stage. She has been in a few plays, but this is her. She's going to be centre stage here for 3 or 5 minutes. Noel Cunningham will be our, what do you call him?
MC,
yes.
Leader.
Yeah, he's
going to meet and greet, keep the flow going.
Yeah, get us revved up for takeoff. Amongst other things, and there'll be a few. So all that's happening. There's a bit of entertainment before, and people will have scones and whatever while they're mingling around. Right. So then we go. There's toilets every couple of hours. They'll have toilets, so let people not worry about. We look after you. Your whatever excess luggage and food you need, have it in a rucksack. It's thrown in a van, and that'll be at the different spots for you. Also, a change of footwear, whatever, which you will, we would advise that you take, and have good ankle support for the hill, right? That is important. It's for your safety and the safety of
It's an exclusive club because it's a limited walk, and it sounds like it's going to be a real event. The crack's going to be good. Great sense of community.
The other thing is we've had marriages and whatnot. So if you want to meet your soulmate for the future, this is the place to be. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So there's not many spaces left. There is 150.
About
150.
Yeah, and it's closing fast. So I appeal to people, if they are,
get onto the website. So you register, then you're given a fundraising card or platform.
Yes, you can do it on the social media now is all the new. You can go on, do your GoFundMe page.
That's a bit of a competition itself. See if you can outdo your friends.
Absolutely.
Other people taking part.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So it's going to be huge. €1.5 million been raised for families caring for children and adults with additional needs in Donegal over the last 20 years.
Yes.
I think that's
by
the figure I have.
Yeah.
By
us, yeah.
By all this fundraising and what have you. Isn't that
we
right?
used to do bucket collections, but we're not allowed anymore.
Are you not?
No.
Right, okay. That's been cancelled. Okay, right. So the Blue Stack, what's the website address? The Blue Stack Special Needs Foundation. BlueStackFoundation.com.
And you'll go in there, and it'll hit you right in front where you register. Right. Yeah. So, and I would appeal to people: do not show up on the day, because unfortunately we will not be able to facilitate you. Because if we do, somebody else is going to go without food. So, there you go. Okay.
Excellent stuff. Is Anya excited?
No, she is.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, she's doing her wee, what do you call them, dance. She's doing her routine or training for it now or whatever.
Brilliant.
But she loves the music.
Yeah.
She's a great girl.
You're going to be standing there with tears in your eyes, aren't you?
Probably will.
You are. Okay, lovely, which is lovely. There's nothing like the pride you get from your children. Okay, brilliant stuff. I can't do any more on this. BlueStackFoundation.com.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see if we can fill it
the other thing
today.
Is,
go on.
People that can't. Not everybody can walk. They can donate. right? They can support in any way they want.
Or sponsor someone that's doing it, or just donate.
Or just
generally.
go onto the web, and there's a donate button there. Hit it and be as generous as you can to us. And we thank you very much, and no doubt we'll be back again, but give us all the help you can.
And this all about it is, and it's a wonderful, light-hearted conversation. This is all about supporting the Blue Stack Special Needs Foundation. In a couple of sentences, what work does it do? What are people helping to fund and support?
What there is to give people with disabilities a better life and a better future.
Yeah, and a pathway to build their own life in the future.
Absolutely.
Enabling people. It's not about, it's about setting people up to...
These guys have loads of talents, and that's what we want to do, is identify where their niche is and help them into the future.
Okie doke, listen. Thanks, Patrick. Good
One
man.
last thing, sorry, just to say, if there is a big funder out there, and I'm appealing to the diaspora abroad, if you get on to Wendy, manager at bluestackfoundation.com, come and visit us, because there is some people, if you want to donate to us, we can set up, and you can see exactly.
It's a really important thing here. You know, we talk about legacy and all, and it's a good point that you make, and I just want to underline it. There's people there with more resources than they need, like people with lots and lots of money that could come in here and get behind something, and what a legacy for them.
And we're like in with the charities regulator, like we're up to date and all that, thanks to Emer and the board that we have there. And I would appeal, we're looking for young, vibrant trustees to come on board our board.
And we'll allow the listener to determine what is young, because you can be slightly older and vibrant.
I'm coming 60 now. I'm young.
Exactly. So not to put anyone off. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
I just want you didn't. Yeah. No, I just want to make that point before someone else does. Yeah. I just want to mention that the main sponsors as well, Blast, the Gateway Lodge, 3D Personnel, and McGee's, who've been on board since 2002. So because they're digging deep, I presume, and it's worth then.
Yeah, and Harvey's Point in the past and Galler's Bread in the past have also come on board. So I can't leave them out. I hope I'm leaving nobody else.
Well, you probably are. All right, Patrick McBurty, founder of the Blue Stack Challenge and director of the Blue Stack Special Needs Foundation. As I say, we'll probably be talking to you again, but there's about 150 or less spaces now. If you want to be part of an exclusive club and do something great in May, go to bluestackfoundation.com.
Thank you.
Back after these.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
New this week in Home Store and More. All Hotel Collection duvet sets are half price. But better hurry, because when all our half price Hotel Collection duvet sets are gone, they're gone. Also, all mattress protectors and all kitchen textiles are still half price. But when all our half price mattress protectors and all our half price kitchen textiles are gone, they're definitely gone. Order online before 2 p.m. for next day delivery, or drop by your local Home Store and More. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Brian McCormick, Sports and Leisure, Main Street, Letterkenny, your football destination store. If you belong on pitch, try a new pair of Adidas Predator Edge football boots, available in kids and adult sizes. Complete your kit with a pair of Murphy's gloves, available in many colours and sizes. Update your O'Neill's shorts and socks with the all-important Gum Shield. Then you're ready to compete. Look the part, play the part. In store, online. Click and collect on bmcsports.ie.
For a great early season lawnmower deal, visit Gartley Sales and Hire, exclusive stockist of Stiga in the Northwest. Mowers, trimmers and hedge trimmers. Full trade and service available at Gartley Sales and Hire, Gartley, Letterkenny. Call 9126276.
McDade's Bathroom Plumbing and Tiles, serving the Northwest for over 40 years. Explore our showroom with more than 40 displays. Choose from an array of shower doors, shower trays, baths and bathroom accessories. Speak with an expert about tile selection and wall paneling. We also stock an array of plumbing, heating and stove spare parts, as well as a great selection of kitchen mixers and radiators at our trade counter. Our stove department is also available for you to choose a style that suits your needs and complements your home. McDade's Bathroom Plumbing Tiles, Buncrana. We're here for you.
The CFC Interiors stock disposal sale is now on. Due to overstock, an incredible £1.5 million worth of stock must go. Don't miss our highest ever stock discount on selected ranges across all departments. The stock disposal sale at CFC Interiors, Derry, Cookstown and Abbey Centre.
The Gavin Glynn Foundation present a special fundraising traditional music concert supporting families fighting childhood cancer in the Inishowen Gateway Hotel, featuring Jerry O'Connor, Kieran Turish, Cathal Hayden and Kevin Doherty. Also Thomas Strain, Kieran O'Kane, Breege Harper and many more. That's from 7:30 on Friday the 13th of May in the Inishowen Gateway Hotel, Buncrana, on behalf of Caitlin Strain, with tickets available at the hotel reception. The SAD is sponsored by White House Veterinary Clinic, Derry.
Century Complex, the perfect family day out this Easter. Kids will love exploring Century Play. We have lots of tasty options at Backstage Bar and Grill. And Century Cinemas are showing kids' movies, rom-coms, action and adventure movies, dramas and more. Call us on 074 9121976 or visit centurycinemas.ie.
Join EirGrid, the operator of the national electricity grid, on May the 4th at the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny, and May the 5th at the Abbey Hotel, Donegal Town, for the EirGrid Energy Citizens Roadshow. These roadshows will provide information about home energy efficiency upgrades, retrofitting grants, community microgeneration schemes, and the future of energy in Donegal. To register for the roadshows, visit airgrid.ie/shaping. EirGrid, delivering a cleaner energy future.
Win this bank holiday with great offers from SuperValue, like save 33% in our Irish steak sale with strip loin steak. Epic! SuperValue Signature Taste Breakfast Deal, only €5. Super! And selected cupboard fillers like Nestle multipacks and pouches, any 4 for €4. Unreal! Win with low prices that compete with anyone. Win with SuperValue.
Are you going to John's wedding? Should the flowers on that weekend? There'll be sessions up and down the street all day.
Hi, Biggie Ling, Bekiol agus Crack agus Rira agus Rulabula.
Aren't you the best man?
This ad is kindly sponsored by Shop LK, Donegal Fla, Letterkenny, 6th till 8th of May. At Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms, we are now operating out of one new state-of-the-art showroom in Donegal Town, and we invite you to visit our new 5,000 square foot Donegal Town showroom to discover the latest eye-catching designs. Remember, at Cherrymore, you're dealing directly with the manufacturer, which means high-quality kitchens at factory prices. Start planning your dream kitchen or bedroom by calling Cherrymore on 074 9725 822. Cherrymore, 25 years delivering value, quality and service all over Ireland.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport. Thinking of a sun holiday with the family? You can now fly to Barcelona 3 times weekly this summer with Ryanair and enjoy some of Europe's best family campsites. Ireland West Airport, you're flying.
Okay, so mostly dry today. There's a mix of cloud and sunny spells, just the slight chance of a shower. You'd have to be unlucky to get caught in one. Temperatures 13 to 15 degrees with a light easterly or variable breeze. Now, due to a cancellation, we've got one space left on our Andre Rieu trip on Saturday the 14th of May. It's €275 plus a single supplement of €60. Price includes luxury transfers, 4-star accommodation at the City North Hotel Dublin and ticket to the show. If anyone is interested in taking that final slot, 074 91 25,000 Andre Rieu. You know who he is anyway. Okay, right. The Global Irish Festival Series is what we're talking about now in the last 5 minutes that we have. Joy Harron is Senior Staff Officer with the Economic Development Directorate with Donegal County Council. How are you getting on? Good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg. Thank you very much for having me on your show.
No, it's good to have you on. Right, now talk to us about the Global Irish Festival Series. It's a relaunch of sorts, isn't it?
It is. So the Global Irish Festival Series was recently launched in the Irish Consulate in New York. So it's an initiative co-funded by Donegal County Council and Fulch Ireland, and it has been running for a number of years. So Donegal County Council this year has been successful in applying for funding under the Global Irish Festival Series to bring Donegal Connect back to Donegal. I suppose we faced a lot of challenges in the tourism sector in the last number of years with the pandemic. So the goal of this Donegal Connect event is to actually, I suppose, revitalise and to bring people back together after the last number of years, and we're doing our best to support the tourism sector by running this event.
Yeah, and it's to encourage the Irish diaspora to return home, to visit Ireland, and perhaps even maybe look to move business here or whatever it might be. And you know, it's not all one-way traffic. I think a lot of people that haven't been here for quite some time, we do be critical and we have to highlight any deficiencies, but we have come on in leaps and bounds too in terms of, you know, infrastructure, you know, connectivity, in terms of broadband and what have you. You know, as I say, it's not always out with the handout. You know, we've an awful lot to offer, and it's worth checking us out again, even if you left here 10 or 15 years ago.
Absolutely, and that is the goal of this event. I think people want to get back in touch with their roots. They want to experience the authenticity that Donegal has to offer. And over the weekend of the 23rd to the 25th of September, we'll be running an exciting lineup of events, and you know, we'll be touching on everything. There'll be music, there'll be genealogy, there'll be business. Of course, you know, we're a fantastic remote working destination here. There'll be arts, there'll be culture as well. So it's about, I suppose, as I said earlier, bringing the tourism sector together, and we have excellent collaboration with stakeholders, with Falch Ireland, with Tourism Ireland, Donegal Tourism, and working together, I suppose, to highlight the best of what we have to offer here in Donegal.
And there's events taking place this time along the Wad Atlantic Way in the likes of Mayo, Limerick and Kerry. What is the purpose or potential benefits of that?
So I think, you know, looking at Donegal Connect and bringing that to the county, we're having it in September. And the reason for that as well is to extend that season. So September is the shoulder season. We want to increase the footfall here. We want to bring visitors. There's a definite appetite out there.
I think there's an element of that happening organically as well too, that people are seeing the season extended past the Halloween, isn't that right? That sort of time. Maybe not that far, but that's also happening. So maybe to accelerate that, and I think maybe the lockdown kind of has accelerated that a little bit, but that's just an opinion. But we need the tourism season, as you say, to be longer.
We do, absolutely. And another thing, I suppose, with what we've learned from the lockdown and the pandemic is the importance of the great outdoors and getting people out in touch with nature and back to that experience in the wild Atlantic way. And of course, we have in Donegal here, we have so much to offer in terms of our outdoor activities. And I suppose this event as well is about highlighting that and about, you know, I suppose running the series of events with not just things like genealogy and with the Tip O'Neill Irish Diaspora Awards, which is a key highlight, the Dawn Chorus that we're planning at Grania of Oliac and so on, but also working with key stakeholders in the tourism sector who are activity providers that can also offer outdoor experiences as well.
So obviously part of this is, and all of it really is about reaching out to diaspora. What do you think, or is there anything our listeners can do to help or engage with this initiative?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So we're, as part of it, we're running a marketing campaign, and the events will be promoted through a number of channels, including Donegal.ie and govisitdonegal.com. So we're asking anyone in the tourism sector and Donegal in general, festival and event organisers, if you're running anything around that period in September, it doesn't have to be that exact weekend of the 23rd, but in and around those dates, get in touch with us here and we'll work together and we'll absolutely help you to promote your festival event or your activities, and we'll include you as part of our marketing campaign as well.
All right, Joy, it was a joy. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you very much.
Pleasure. Take care of yourself. Okay,
thank you.
That's Joy Harron there, Senior Staff Officer with the Economic Development Directorate with Donegal County Council. That is the end of another 9 till noon show. We're back tomorrow for a Friday's edition, and we have our Friday panel discussing the topics of the day. What do you want the panel to talk about? Why don't you talk about this? Make suggestions and we'll pick some out as well. We don't have Fionnuala tomorrow. We've got Michael and a surprise. Be a surprise to me anyway. Oh, Noel Cunningham's going to be joining us for the Friday panel. Okay, excellent. So Noel, me and Michael for the Friday panel. Not the Friday panel, that would be some crack too, for That's Entertainment. And as I say, the Friday panel, that's all coming up. Can't wait, already excited. Hopefully you are. You'll join us from 9, won't you? John Breslin's coming up after